You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
We do not forget. Expect us.
This is a message to all supporters, a message to all freedom fighters, to all dissenters, to all forgotten, a call to all intellectuals, to all journalists, a call to all freethinkers, a call for intelligence. This is a call to all poets, a call to the strong and the weak, a call to all young people, to the wise, to the astucious. We want you to join us. We are on the streets of Tokyo, in the skyscrapers of New York, in the lanes of Paris, in the cellars of Munich, on Moscow's icy places, on the cobbled streets of Dublin. This is a call to all people, to the youth. Join us in the fight for freedom of information. Search for us, and you will find us. We are among you. We are you. Everyone you speak with can be a member of Anonymous. We have no leaders, only an orientation. We have no targets, only results. You cannot stop us because we are an idea. We cannot be eliminated because we are invisible. If you try to mock us, we will mock ourselves. If you try to slander us, we will accept the defamation. We are the king's gestures with daggers. We are the dancing bear which tears to pieces the laughing mob. We are Anonymous. We are a legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us, just as we expect you.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all...
councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
And we're live. Welcome to Anonymous Bites Back, episode 144. I apologize for all the errors. I was pushing the wrong buttons on the back.
Got your volume on, Tyler?
Yeah, I put my volume on today.
All right, man.
I don't know, where should we start?
Sorry, it's all kind of tangled up in there.
Facebook, that Facebook $1 billion fine that is also, that we talked about last week, is tied into the...
That's... You're making sounds.
I don't think you can hear me.
He's cleaning out his microphone. Just hang on. It's got to get the dust out of the dust cover.
Terrence.
He's got a toothpick now. He's going to get the dirt out of it, too.
Is that any better?
Yeah, your mic was on the whole time you were fixing it.
Oh God!
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
At least it's on. Can you guys actually hear me this time?
Hey, actually, it sounds a lot better. Hey, good job.
Cool.
But the FTC, part of the FTC multi-billion-dollar fine that they're going to give Facebook also involves the Facebook using kids' data to kids that they were stealing their user data by giving them misrepresenting what exactly they were doing.
Is that for?
Yeah, that was part of the thing you posted last week for the violation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is why this is what they were probing for, and this was the hook, line, and sinker about. Not only was it unethical, it may violate federal federal laws, and
of course it does.
And this is where I've been saying all along that Facebook is somebody is going to go to jail eventually for some of this shit, and using children's data and enticing them with money and using weird verbiage for them to allow access is violating a lot of laws.
So it's not just unethical, man.
It's illegal. It is 100% illegal.
Yeah, you can't be like, "Hey, kids, do you want money?"
To be honest, if you're ever doing that, right, chances are you're wrong.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're in a situation where you're like, I think we should probably pay some children to find out, you are probably fucking up.
Oh, you just straight up hand them cash. It's not even snow cones or ice cream anymore. Candy. You don't do that. Just here's $20.
Yeah, you could be like,
that's okay.
We'll give you candy. We'll give you candy mailed to your house.
They haven't figured out what to give you since they weren't able to sell cigarettes to children anymore, because that was really working out the best.
They got to get them hooked early.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the vape pens. That might be, might be the next best thing. But
oh yeah, they're going after that too. But all of those vape pen ads are sponsored by tobacco companies.
Well, I heard that a lot of these vape juices actually have pesticides in them, so that should be interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those, like, I think, it's two things. They don't really know a huge amount about them. That is relatively true. But they act like you don't know a huge amount about tobacco. And that's where there's this, like, weird disconnect that's in it. Like, that smoking cigarettes will definitely kill you of cancer. And we know that they've lied to us the entire time, that they told us that wasn't true. And then when a replacement comes out that both, possibly lowers your addiction to tobacco and lowers your case of cancer, they don't like that.
Well,
right? They need you to be addicted to fucking tobacco.
And the accelerant for the vapor for propylene glycol has been it has been used in over-the-counter products for decades.
I'm trying to think. It's popcorn, microwave popcorn.
It's a preservative.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like this is an unknown product that they don't, but it is up against the tobacco industry and shit. They'll tell you anything. Oh well, they'll come back from the tobacco industry and tell people that were eating carrots that carrots are bad for you if they stop you fucking from smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, but I've seen some legitimate articles going around that are saying that not all vape juices, but certain vape juices are actually putting pesticides in the juice.
I mean, that might be the case, but a majority of these vape juices are under strict regulations since they cracked down on it about 2 years ago.
Well, and I've started to see a lot of places that are putting, that don't have that in there, that are organic or whatever oil they use to make it.
Most legit vape companies are only using propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin, and they're mainly using sugary flavors. They're usually sugar based and what is it? Nicotine hydrochloride.
Well, let me clarify. Let me clarify that I'm not talking about flavored vape juices. I'm talking about CBD oil based vapes. Yeah, this is actually like huge news because a lot of these companies that were involved in the CBD oil were actually using pesticide to compensate for the lack of oil that they put in their products. So they were cutting back just to kind of make an extra profit. And
and you're going to see more. You're going to see more and more of this as it goes from being grassroots, pretty much non-GMO, growers and suppliers to people like Rex Tillerson. Right, to the exactly, like you start seeing people making, well, can we poison these people or can I make a little bit more profit? I'll make a little bit more profit. Where your average hippie that was growing it before did not make those same decisions. Right, I'll make sure not to use this because I want to make sure my product is good for you. And that's not the decisions that, like I said, people like Rex Tillerson that got out of the fossil fuel industry and moved directly into the cannabis industry will push out poisons. No shit. The green Marlboro packs, right? The weed that you'll get from Marlboro definitely will cause cancer.
Interesting. Are they really trying that?
Well, yeah.
They're first.
And Anheuser-Busch are also getting into the tobacco. Anheuser-Busch wants to make drinkable weed.
Well, and Marlboro is looking to buy, I think it's Aurora Industry. I gotta look at it's a company that starts with an A, and that's pretty much their tap. They've got it all set up for being able to sell weed like they do tobacco. But they're buying, like I said, this Aurora company to do their distribution and growing and all of that shit. But I would be wise of all of the same evil corporations that have taken over every industry, taking over this one. That's really what they do.
And it put a nasty old green box like them old, what was it, the fucking menthols, man, used to be in the green box.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was nasty.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah. Well, you know that Trump legalized hemp secretly, kind of.
Yeah, it was in December. I put that on there. It was called the Farm Bill.
For Christmas. Yeah,
it passed. It passed on December 28th, allowing farmers to grow hemp in all 50 states to produce CBD oil. But it didn't. What they didn't do is they didn't change the DEA listing though, which was kind of weird, But
well, if you're a multi-billionaire in the cannabis industry, they're not going to arrest you. If you're selling dime bags trying to survive, right, they will send heavily armed SWAT members to kick in your door and shoot your family. Right? That's the difference.
I see the difference.
Right? Like there's people like as Rex Tillerson rakes in billions of dollars in cannabis, right? There's people sitting in prison for lifetimes for selling a dime bag. Doing the exact same thing.
What about buying a bag? Do you get arrested for that too?
Depends. Are you white?
Really? That's still like that? Like.
Yeah, there's a couple guys out in California that got about to run. They really from the Cheech and Chong, right? So Chong, they tried to fucking throw the book at him, put him in prison for a while for selling a bong, a used bong.
Yeah, it was bongs way back in, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess they don't call you up and say, "Hey, remember when we put you in prison for the prison industrial complex? We're totally sorry about that."
Yeah, you never get a complaint form, and a place to
our
send
bad.
it.
Our bad.
Did you also see the cannabinoid drinks and snacks that were being started to show up within different states? And they started banning them.
Yeah, they did. And remember there was during the press conference, somebody argued with the lead sheriff or whatever the fuck his name, the chief, and said that CBD doesn't get you high. And he goes, yes it does. He goes, no it doesn't. And he goes, yes it does. He goes, no it doesn't.
No it doesn't. That was the same one. They were like closing down a smoke shop. I want to say that was in New York, but they were closing down a fucking smoke shop, and then they closed them down over CBD oils that was in gummies. And first they put out these gummies and they're like, children can get a hold of this. And that was when the reporter was all like, well, are those the gummies from the store? And he's all like, no, the gummies from the store in a package that are orange that say keep out of reach of children, that kind of stuff. These are just some gummy bears that we put up there for fucking representation that were like kids gummy bears or whatever. And then they get into this argument over whether it gets you high or not. And then the journalist is all like, well, you're shutting down this place, but Walmart down the street sells CBD oil. Will you be shutting them down as well? And the chief of police is like, well, we're looking into it. So
looking into that Walmart waiver.
They actually won that case, and they were. I remember they actually sued the police department in a civil lawsuit, and not only did they get all their products back, but they also got about $20,000 in damages.
Oh, I would have like supported them at that moment. Be like, nah, dude, let's go kick in the Walton's door right now. I'm down. Let's fucking do this. We need to get this scourge off the streets. The children.
Interestingly enough, the FDA commissioner, Scott Gottlieb, actually stated that the agency was looking for pathways to legalize the sale of CBD oil and other cannabis-derived compounds in foods, beverages, and supplements. Did you know that?
I believe it. Like, there are definitely two, like, competing groups. There was a lot of fight, for people that don't know this, there was an extreme fight from our change from what the world used to run on, which was whale oil and bat guano, to oil, right? In the same way that you see people fighting against against solar power and against cannabis, the previous industry fights so hard. Tobacco sees itself being replaced altogether. Right, people are smoking less and less cigarettes. The previous industries are our bigger opponents, and the people that are the most forward thinking, the people that see, look, there's not enough whales to keep this fucking going. We got to move on to something new. Those are the bastions of industry that are in power right now, and they're fighting the same way that they fought to get into the door. But yeah, there's definitely two competing people that, am I going to continue to make this last little bit of money off of the drug war, or am I going to move that money on to, to weed? But you can't really do both.
Yeah, for sure. You're starting to see it a lot more of the legacy companies are getting involved in the hemp and marijuana industry.
Well, and geez, there's like nothing that you can't make out of hemp. We're talking like the smokables and fun stuff and THC shit out the window. Everything. That's where the real change in some of these industries will be, is in the amount of stuff that you can make with cannabis. It's from plastics to, to it grows fast, to oils, to cleaning supplies, to fucking, gas. And it's unbelievable everything that you can make from this plant.
Yeah, before the oil industry started to become big, it was like, I think it was 40,000 products.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, 40,000 products. From clothing too, right? Like like modern day denim and stuff. It was made from canvas, and it would last for much longer and much stronger.
It's still the best rope that you can buy. Like, still the best with all of the cool, different materials that we have. It's still the best rope you can buy, which is like interesting to think about. But look, I've always been under the, and there's like cancer research and all of this stuff. Look, I'm not one of those people that thinks that it's some magic fucking plant that's going to fix all of our problems. But I can tell you this, even if it only fixed one of those problems, the establishment would fight tooth and nail to stop it. Even if it only fixed one of those problems.
Yeah, it'll fix a lot, too. That's the thing. And, with Trump legalizing it, that's huge.
I think if he straight out legalized marijuana across the entire country, he would give Bernie a run for his money.
Well, that's what they're trying to do in the Senate.
Oh, I would love. Is that the switch?
Senate Bill 420, where they want to allow people to start selling marijuana where it isn't state legalized and try to get it legalized federally.
Yeah, I mean, look, the same thing happened with alcohol. There's places a lot of the alcohol laws are still on the books, completely unenforced.
You got to watch. You got Canada up there. You know, they went through this whole process like a year or two ago of making a bunch of promises, and it was going to be federally, legal and all that, and they turned it into the biggest fascist hijacking big company takeover there is. I mean, that's what I worry about.
You know what I heard is that the little tiny shops that were supposed to open, it was just these shops that were affiliated with like corporations. That's what's going on in Canada.
Well, I mean, that's what's going to happen, man. Yeah, I mean, that's what I worry about. Yeah, that's what I worry about happening, is that they will replace what has been a grassroots movement, a grassroots fight. Local small farmers will be placed with the corporate nightmare, right? Whatever complex you want that always gets into these industries. They'll start out with something that is so good and turn it into something that's a complete nightmare for profit. Let the mom and pop farmers make a little bit of money. I don't care if you're a giant corporation, right? If Monsanto doesn't get to spray, I don't give a shit about any of that. Let one industry be ours. You know what I mean? Just one.
They're not going to happen.
The GMO weed, it'll be all the same shit. You only be able to buy it with a tax stamp. Blah blah blah. Mom and pops, it'll all go underground just like it did, where it started from, Oh
yeah, they'll start treating it like oh well, do you have a permit to grow that? Do you have a permit to fucking distill your own whiskey? It's still illegal to distill your own whiskey.
I know, talk about ridiculous.
Freedom. You can't even distill. You can't imagine going into the ancient world and telling them that you're free, but you can't make your own alcohol. They'd laugh at you.
Because alcohol is actually very easy to make. You have to, even a retard can do it.
It's just like it's just the things that you're okay with. It's always it's always one step at a time, right? One little thing at every time. Something that it's always been. Smoking weed was always just you're a human. You're allowed to do it. It's a plant. Mind your own business, right? That used to be all the way up until 60 years ago. That was the plan. And you let them in just a little bit, and they immediately, right? Everything that they're connected with only leads to the prisons. Anything they're connected with only leads to the prisons.
Yeah, if it's not illegal, then make it a permit. Oh, well, you didn't pay your permit, so now it's even worse. It's going to be a clerical thing. Some secretary going, "Oh, Terrence, this is so bad." Well, it's 6 months in jail. You didn't have your permit.
Oh yeah, look, you can't collect rainwater without a permit. You own the sky now.
Really?
Yeah,
that's the perfect analogy. That's the perfect analogy. Yeah.
Well, what state actually has that on law? Just
Oregon.
I think that was Florida.
Oregon.
That was Florida.
Really?
Oregon.
And the same as if you buy, we had to go through all sorts of hassle to get solar down there. There's very little solar in the Sunshine State because you can't put that it's for emergencies, right? It has to, you have to work it so that it's not actually a solar generator for your house for when you have your next hurricane, right? You have to work it through all sorts of bullshit to even have solar in the Sunshine State. You'd think they would be first up.
That's fucking crazy.
I have to mention what's behind the water collection. That they actually claim that the water originally comes from the ground, right? And it is part of the U.S. territory. And it goes into the sky and then it falls down again.
No, it lands on your...
It comes from the ocean.
Yeah, that's like that whole theory behind it. It's
it comes from. It lands on the ocean or lands on your property,
but it comes
and then
from
you're taxed for what's on your property.
Yeah,
and what comes off your property.
You remember when they just had the easy out and could just tell you it was God, right? They own the sky, the land, the water, right? They own everything, right? Because God, that's why we own all of it. And now they really do have problems making it just sound right. So why do you own all the water in the sky again? Oh, it's because it used to be in the land and we own all the land and you're cool with that. Right, so I mean, water's the next extension of that, of course.
But what if it originated from international waters?
Well, I think they're under the impression that all water only originates from Nestle.
They're your lord, you're a serf. You have to understand the relationship.
Yeah, this is the king's land. I also am the sky and the water and all of the trees because I'm the king.
God bless America, right?
Yeah. Hey, you little pissants. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah, and like it's the thing is that it's us that sounds that they try to paint as the crazy person. If you say, "Hey, man, you don't own the sky," that's fucking insane, right? You're the terrorist, right? You're a psychopath for thinking that, right? That's what makes no sense to me.
I mean, yeah, that's interesting.
Well, it's because you live in the fascist states of America. It's not the United States of America, okay? Because if it was, it wouldn't be like this, right? You know, you wouldn't have corporations telling you all this shit and running the government and telling the government what to do.
Oh, no, they love you.
It wouldn't be like that.
I mean, they don't even. What's hilarious is they like skip the whole government part, even, right? They write the law, send it to him, he signs it, bada bing, bada boom. He don't even read it.
Yeah, I was about to say most of them probably don't read that.
No,
they just sign it.
Oh, they just sign it.
Oh, I got my payment from the lobbyist. Oh, okay, all right.
That's the question they asked. Did the check clear? Yeah, we're good.
They already know. They wrote it. You know, they don't need to wait or read it. They wrote the damn thing. Of course.
Well, wait a second. Not all of them write it.
Well, in the revolving door. Sure.
Yeah, the ones that pass like without any question. Yeah, the corporations just straight up write them.
Oh yeah, corporate. I was thought you were talking about lawmakers.
Yeah, because when like at these hearings, when you hear senators and all this say stuff to like Mark Zuckerberg, like, "Well, we need your help in writing this new legislation," you're fucked. Okay, that's what that means. That's senator talk for we're going to really bend over the little guy with Facebook.
Well, you look at what like Foxconn. Right, so I mean, it doesn't even have to be an American company. You know, it's Foxconn. So China or a Korean company comes over, says, "Hey, give us $1 billion, and we will $2 billion, and we'll open up this factory." Hire a bunch of Americans. They took the $2 billion. Oh, we're not going to open up the factory. That was why did you pay up?
Donation. Thanks for the $2 billion donation. You know.
Yeah, we were going to hire like 1,000 people, 2,000 people. Now we're going to hire 100 people. How's that sound? And not Americans. We're just going to hire some other Koreans for research purposes.
Yeah, because you were working with another senator, and he got you a bunch of H-1B visas or whatever the hell they are, and we got our own guys coming in. They're all Chinese.
Yeah, boom, easy money. And it's not like I think like it's not that I mind you coming over and fucking working or doing any of that, but like, does our government have to just suck any dick that has some money attached to it? Like, really, guys? Anybody? No, well, like, is there anyone you won't fuck us over for?
No, yeah.
I don't know.
Like, when you think down to the horrible like institutions and people and governments around the world, like, is there anybody you won't fuck us over for? Like, just in general.
Let's see, checklist: Saudi Arabia, Israel, France.
Oh, you can't even mention Israel. You can't even mention it. You can't even mention it.
Hey, come on, man. We're going to get an anti-Semitic mark on this.
Fuck yeah. The entire world, it's known as the Palestinian genocide, and you can't even mention an ongoing genocide?
Well, did you see what France did?
Not right off. Hit me.
Oh,
I get.
Macron said that. Macron said that it's now anti-Semitic to be a anti-Zionist. How stupid is that? How dumb is that? Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, do you not know what any of those words mean? Or I think it's anti-Semitic to be pro-Zionist.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So do I. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean,
that dude's totally out of touch. Well, he's one of them. He's totally brainwashed into the cult. So
anybody that comes out and denies genocide, right, is part of the corrupt, is part of the oppressors, no doubt. It doesn't matter, and that's what you can't even say it. Look, it doesn't matter. The genocide in Germany was a fucking genocide, an absolute positive nightmare. The genocide in fucking Gaza is an absolute positive fucking nightmare. They're not mutually exclusive.
It's anti-Semitic. Yeah. It's anti-Semitic to talk about a genocide happening.
That's anti-Semitic to say that. It's anti-Semitic. That is the same as saying
absolutely.
Thank you.
Because Israel gets to do whatever the hell they want. Nobody else can except America. That's how it works. Israel
Yeah,
gets to
it
do
makes
whatever, come on.
my issue, and I don't think it is. And look, I'll put this: most of the people that I know that are like the hardest fought in exposing the Zionist nightmares, the ongoing military nightmare just in the general area, all of that are Jewish. So I mean that puts a clear distinction between the Zionist and the Jews, right? And the people that I've talked to that are religiously Jewish, you know what I mean, that are not just an Israeli citizen, are completely different than what you see, the propaganda and the fucking. It's not hard to get to get people in heavily armed things to beat up people, right? They do that around the world, but I don't see the support from inside of a lot of my friends, and that some of it may be because they're friends. You gravitate towards people that you agree with, but there is a clear differentiation between the two.
Well, Macron, as the ex-Rothschild's banker, is telling you their viewpoint. We don't like you having this viewpoint. We don't like you talking against us. That's what he's really saying.
Look what happened last week in America for even saying, hey, I don't think we should be supporting genocide anywhere in the world. Like, those are the questions you need to ask, right? Is this a genocide? Yes. Should we be supporting a genocide? No. The who's of that question should not matter. Right? Who's committing the genocide does not matter.
No, that's actual people dying that matters. So, yeah.
You're like, wait, where is this happening? Okay,
yeah, why do all of the places that have genocides going on right now, do the bombs say USA on them? That is a problem.
I mean, it's like they have a checklist. It's like, all right, is Yemen a genocide? No.
Well, yeah, just check. If the bombs say USA on it, then I guess we're cool with it. Sitting down there, is this a genocide? I don't know. Hold on a second. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that looks like U.S.
Yeah, it looks like a cluster bomb. We're good.
Yeah. Sukhois or Boeing. Sukhois or Boeing. Sukhois or Boeing. Shit, it's Boeing. Run.
I wonder how long that's going to last still. I mean, for now, fine. No one can do anything against U.S. Army stuff. But eventually, it's going to change.
It's coming quick. Like, their fear of a lot of people that are coming into. I mean, even that you're seeing in the U.S. government, their fear of the people that are there is definitely their anti-war stance.
Yeah, I mean, these soldiers have families too, and if you do a lot of history research, you will find out these soldiers will find out stuff too about their history. I mean, there are plenty of things you can disagree with, and at some point, but the educational system doesn't really help them either. So it is very difficult.
Well, most people aren't going to disagree about war. I mean, that's the one thing that everybody's on board with.
Till Trump says he wants to leave fucking Syria, and then the Democrats and the fucking Republicans are standing hand in hand on how they need to stay at war in the Middle East. We can't bring our soldiers home. Right now, these are the same people that were, that are the anti-war party, right? They got the signs, the No More Wars hashtag, right? These are the people that were constantly coming out, the wars are wrong, blah, 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 until you say, hey, we're going to pack up and leave our shit from the illegal Bush-era wars, right? No, we can't do that. What about the?
Well, I would argue that's Obama, too.
The Syrians?
Well, yeah, that's how they were told to shut up during the Obama years, which they did. Mm-hmm. He did whatever he wanted, and now they're having been trained to shut up. They don't say anything, apparently. They just go along with it. It's all part of what the
Obama just the same policy, just a better actor, right? I mean, more.
I think he would come out. I mean, there is the drone strikes. He set precedents for that. And that's something that has always really bothered me. And there's things about Obama that I really liked, especially, like, I worked for his campaign in the beginning. There were things about him that could have been so great. And it was squandered. You had the choice to set precedents. Do drone strikes count as war or not? And you went with the whole black ops, fucking murdering children bullshit.
Yeah, he didn't campaign with that, right? I mean, you can't blame yourself for that. He didn't.
He said he was a constitutional scholar.
Yeah, but that's what he claims to be. That didn't mean you were just looking for loopholes.
I mean, so he obviously knows about all these things. He just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I think like I think that's something that bothered me out of, it doesn't look, the Bushes are war hawks. No surprise we went to war during the Bush administration. Like, that's, every Bush goes to war with Iraq. That's the thing to do, right? So that wasn't a particularly surprise. Obama's use of drones and the precedent that it set, that really did, that changed my entire view of him as a president, because after that, the things that it takes to go down that road, right? The things that you have to ignore, the things that he knew, right? From civil rights to the use of people in Vietnam, you knew what you were doing was wrong. The Bushes may have known what it was doing wrong, like as a moral thing, but did what was definitely right as a Bush.
Yeah, what you see is what you got. That's what you mean. At least with Bushes, you knew this.
Yeah, like man, you came out
you know
you lied to me. You lied to me again. And there wasn't much difference of them. In fact, I much prefer the Trump version, fucking Bush version corruption than the Obama version. Where then I have to fight against a whole persona being a good guy on top of it.
Yeah,
and I don't, and I think we talked about this before. Reagan, Bush Jr., Bush Sr. wasn't great at it, right? He wasn't good behind the television. Bush Jr., right? He was really good at working the media. He could look into the screen and talk to you, and even if you didn't believe everything that he said, you believed that he believed it, which is part of the game.
Yeah,
but he was extremely good.
You would believe that he believed it.
You would. You'd be like, he has no idea where Afghanistan is. But, you think his heart's in the right place.
That explains things with those weapons of mass destruction.
I think it was, honestly, and I know they get a lot of shit. I think there was a overall surprise that there was no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. They've been selling it to them. Where the fuck did they go? I think there was that kind of there was like as far as the numbers
that would
concerned,
work.
You would think there's an 80% chance that the CIA's been trying to sell you fucking weapons of mass destruction forever.
It's like the nerve gas. You sold them the nerve gas, you shake hands with Rumsfeld, and then the next thing you know, the sumbitch is pointing at you for using the nerve gas.
Yeah.
That you sold
I think he may have learned
you're the
from
good
that.
guy.
Yeah,
well, that would work if Tony Blair and Bush didn't plan it a year before.
Oh, and that whole
got him.
The whole yellow cake uranium where you just pay your local liar to say whatever you wanted, and that was the lie that you came up with. It's just.
Well, you remember the Downing Street memo, right? The whole Downing Street memo affair where they fucked up and we accidentally put together this dozer using academics, and it was an intelligence report. Well, yeah, I guess it was an intelligence report. You copied from academic papers and then pasted whatever the fuck you wanted and mixed it all together. That's our intelligence.
But I think when they invaded, I think they honestly figured we'll find something, anything. The American people would have been happy with anything. And they couldn't find, honestly, they just could not find weapons of mass destruction. And they were dirty enough to set up the whole lie, but not dirty enough to fucking hide it. I don't understand.
They should have been like, yep, we found the Baghdad battery. We got it, guys. We got it.
Or even, look, I would have fucking, if I was George Bush, I would be like, you know what, I'm going over there, I'll find it myself. Right? I would be on the first plane. I'd kick over some sand. Look right there. Fucking all the nuclear biologicals you could want. I knew they were here. Nobody would have argued.
Well, Terrence, the weird thing is, I expected them to find some form of chemical weapons too, because they did provide the Iraqis with chemical weapons against the Iranians, right? I mean, the Americans actually provided them with that.
Yeah, but I think they learned their lesson and just what do you do with chemical weapons? Yeah, like modern people don't use chemical weapons. We just dump them over like everyone, like every normal person would.
Yeah, they were smart because I think they already knew, like, oh yeah, the Americans gave us this stuff. We need to get rid of it right now. Like,
yeah. If the Americans look okay, and maybe people aren't putting all of all of the dots. If the CIA is selling you chemical weapons right now,
or any weapons,
walk away.
Any weapons. Yes.
Walk away.
Take that shit and dump it.
Yeah,
get it away.
Get rid of it. Nothing good is going to come from this.
Well, you're screwed either way.
It's a setup. It's a trap.
If you buy them or if you don't buy them, we're still going to blame you. You see how that works?
Well, if you don't buy them, they're just going to give them for free.
Yeah, it's you get into the Iranian thing, and it's all like, well, why do you guys have nuclear weapons? Well, because otherwise America will attack us. I mean, they literally talk about it every day.
Yeah.
Every day. They've surrounded our entire country with fucking army bases. They said they're gonna stay in Iraq to point guns at us. Like, what do you expect any normal person to do? If there was a group of people cleaning their guns outside of your house, you would go buy a piece. But if you're cleaning nuclear weapons outside of the borders of somebody else's country, they're supposed to just be like, that's cool.
You know what? At this point, I personally trust the Iranians more with a nuke than the people who would put Stuxnet in a nuclear reactor, right?
I've always like, and you can tell that their goal.
That's so true.
You can tell that their goal is not peace. When you look at even what was going on in Syria, both America and Iran were claiming to be fighting ISIS. Why is this a moment for you not to work together?
Well, you know, the CIA whistleblower, Sterling, I can't remember his first name for the life of me, but his last name was Sterling. He said that the CIA was setting up Iran with fake documents on nuclear weapons. So, you know, the whole entire thing of them trying to get into Iran, it's been going on for years.
Oh, I think, but like, unlike North Korea shut down and like went very inward. Iran has spent, you know, a lot of time, you know, everybody knows, you know, a couple of Iranians here or there. They travel widely. You meet them. They've got the internet and connection with people. We have trouble like spinning this nameless like enemy out of them because they're immediately back on Twitter that are like, no, we don't want to attack anybody. Calm down.
Well, so they're another example of a country that, you know, if they go nuclear or they don't go nuclear, we're going to attack you. I mean, that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think at this point, as far as Iran, North Korea, yeah, they need nuclear weapons, or we would have attacked them already, guaranteed. Like there is no doubt about that. I mean, it's the whole nuclear thing is such a mind fuck. It's another thing. Look, you can already destroy the world 1,000 times over. Does it matter if you can destroy it 1,001? And in actuality, if the deal is that America's attacked by a nuclear weapon, if the deal is that we have to destroy the entire fucking planet in response or use other means to get at them, use other means.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking insane, right? If you know what I mean? If you punch that guy, I'm going to blow my fucking head off. That is crazy.
Yeah, but it's more symbolic too, Terrence, because of course countries like Iran, which are not like a tiny, poor country, also have their bio-warfare departments. And if they were really scared of Iran, they would also talk about the fact that Iran can create like a fast-spreading virus that would like go like literally through the ether and infect and kill everyone in like 3 days. But they don't do that kind of stuff. So.
Well, I mean, it goes into you know, other countries have weapons programs. We have the biggest weapons program on the planet, right? We've got the biggest nuclear, biological, chemical, you know what I mean? We've got diseases that'll get to you. We've got, you know, little DNA bugs that'll go and just find you. Like we've got pens and ice, like we've got every single possibly way, you know, pheromone fucking bombs, everything.
Yeah,
right?
It's used. Yeah.
You know, so when you think, okay, well, these guys made like a vat of some fucking, you know, some chemical in their country compared to the, you know, mountain filled with it that we have. I can't throw those kind of rocks. I don't believe that we need weapons of mass destruction either.
No.
If you have to destroy an entire city, right, then you're an oppressor, right? You're not freeing anyone. If you have to kill everybody in the country, right, to make it, you know, free, then walk away. And there's never enough, right? Every year, our military budget goes up by another couple $1 trillion. Like these budgets go up every year, another trillion, another, you know what I mean? And it's never enough. There's never enough people that we can kill. There's never enough bombs that we can drop. We've dropped more bombs, right, in Afghanistan in 1 year than we dropped in the entirety of World War II.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and like I'm just thinking, like they're always acting that these governments are so purely evil. But if they truly believe that, there would be many other ways instead of some nuclear weapon.
I mean, look, game recognized game. There's evil people in there. Y'all are the evilest people on earth. To point your finger and be like, well, that guy's a murderer. Yeah, but it's Jason calling Freddy Krueger a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, you guys are both axe murderers, right? They're like, I can't I can't really differentiate the two. To me, to go back to what we were talking about to start, genocide to me looks like genocide. The who's don't matter, right? War for profit is war for profit. Everybody involved are pieces of shit.
Well, it matters
and to think
to
that
them.
the Iranians don't keep power, that like the war, like the threats don't benefit them as well, is a lie. Around the world use the Americans, I'm putting up quotes, as their fear tactic, the same way that we do. Why do you need a nuclear bomb? Well, because of the Americans, of course.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have a nuclear bomb, the Americans are going to bomb the shit out of you, so you need a bomb for self-defense.
Yeah, which we will. Do you have oil?
Yeah, right, yeah. Do you have oil?
Yeah,
John Bolton wants it.
Yeah, because if you got oil, we will bomb the fuck out of you.
Your country needs to have a central bank. Otherwise, you're going to get attacked.
Those are like those are like step 1A and B, and they're interchangeable. So yeah, you need to be a part of the central bank or what the OPEC, or we bomb you. If you're lucky. If you're lucky, if we don't bomb you, then we hire drug lords and warlords to massacre your own people and then undermine you that way. Up to you. Totally up to you.
Or we'll just pay some people in your military to cause a little bit of chaos. Hey,
how close are you? How close are you to Kurdistan? Because look, if that oil looks like Kurdish land to me.
Well, Kurds are the convenient army of nobodies. There's a whole lot of them, but I mean, of nobodies that we use to attack whoever the enemy is at the time.
Yeah, whoever's living in the place that we would like to take, we give it to the Kurds. And the part of that story that bothers me so much is the Kurds themselves never wake up to it. Right? When the CIA agent comes in now for the 5th war and promises you the part of another country, you're going to have to wake the fuck up. He does not have your best intentions in mind.
Yeah, how many times are they going to use that football and then pull it out from under you, like, Sally and Charlie Brown? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, like when we're leaving Syria, do you get it this time? Like, for the Kurdish leadership, do you get it? You understand now how this works? All of the Kurds that died for that engagement, right? All of the people that they killed, right? That's what you got. The same thing that you get every time you work for the Americans. Every time. Doesn't matter if you're the Hmong. We left the Hmong to fucking die the same way when we left Vietnam. Well, thanks for the support, guys. You're on your own. Hey, if you can make it to Thailand, you get a free flight here. No problem. No problem.
Yeah, it's like next time they show up, just this is a message for the Kurdish people. Next time that evil guy shows up, he's not going to give you a country.
If Agent whatever the fuck his name shows up to your country, right, and hires a meeting with you at a lavish hotel in the middle of the night, just walk away, man.
Well, they don't have any true friends. There's nobody loyal to them. I mean, this happens. Oh, we tried that. So they're surrounded by dicks who just constantly use them for everything. And they're like, fuck, man. You're stuck. The Turks don't give a shit about you. Well, really, none of the other countries give a shit about them either.
Well, because in Turkey, the PKK has operated as a terrorist organization. Blowing people up, blowing up town squares.
Oh, no. That's just normal.
So, I mean, you can see how Turkey could, hey, your CIA-trained agents that you promised the bottom part of my country keep on coming up and blowing things up. Can we build a wall?
Can we build a wall? Yeah, that wall is not going to be blown up.
They'll get more than $1 billion, that's for sure.
What, 1.6 billion? I love how the Democrats, that's somehow a win for me. Like, I don't understand how that's a win. So Nancy Pelosi does a golf clap and then gives you $1.5 billion, and I'm supposed to feel like I won something.
Well, you're lucky the evil witch gave you that much. See, that's
only in the American political system can be getting $1.5 billion for 55 miles of fucking fencing is considered a loss. It is.
I mean, she could have patted him on the head.
She could have.
Yeah.
She could have. She could have stuck to her guns.
Good Trump.
I think she did. Good boy.
Now go lay down. Go lay down.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, and in the Democrat world, this was all a win. and it's the biggest friggin' hand job. I mean, for both sides, actually. I mean,
I would have loved if the government had ever given out a fucking hand job. I would at least count it as a fucking 1-0. But no, we don't even get that. Not even the common decency of a reach around. Yeah, like there comes, that, and everybody just lapped that up as a win. The whole golf clap thing, nothing says fucking aristocracy like a golf clap followed by $1.5 billion. Flint only needs $135 million to fix their pipes at this point.
It's only $1.5 billion,
Yeah, only. Project. We realize that we've already paid like $10 billion for it, but
we're keeping your money. We're going to keep your money. Fuck you.
The project's over. Have a good one.
Phony rail project.
Oh, holy crap! We're shutting down the rail project. Pretending we realize that we've already paid some sort of genius. But I have a sneaking suspicion. I could build a high-speed rail system for $10 billion.
Give
me a go. Yeah, but he didn't even then. He was putting up his. I have a sneaking suspicion. I put up, $500 million, $500 million, $500 million. This is $10 billion of fucking unbridled government money.
Yeah, I know,
dude. Yeah. Same with the thing. You could only get. You could only. This is supposed to be a guy that is known for the fucking art of the deal, and you only got 55 miles of fence built for $1.5 billion. Can I give the contract a go? Right? Because, honestly, I got a couple of boys across the border that'll build it for way less.
Well, look, there's a lot of hands that have to get greased between those guys and the poor chap that has to dig the hole.
Yeah, let me go. Yeah, exactly. I bet you I could get quite a bit of fence built and still fix Flint's water. Let me talk to Jim's fucking construction down here.
You can't do that. You can't do it. You're not allowed to fix Flint's water.
No, that's a government project.
It's a national emergency. It's a national emergency.
It's a national government experiment.
Look. Canada is right across the water there, right? If we do not build a wall, it needs new pipes and irrigation, right? Water system. I worry about. Look, Canadians most of the time are good people, right? But they're not sending them our best. Right?
So
they're sending rapists, they're sending murderers, they're sending Jim Carrey.
It's all these Canadian Muslims that are going to attack us. They're going to link up with the Minnesota.
Did you just say they're sending Jim Carrey?
And Justin Bieber.
Oh,
Justin Bieber's. I love the reason I said Jim Carrey is because I love Jim Carrey. He's just one of my favorite actors on top of like artists now. Which is why he has to hate Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey is probably one of the most likable people on the planet. So Trump has a real problem making him seem like a bad dude. When you're like, I don't like Jim Carrey. You don't like Jim Carrey? What the fuck's the matter with you? Everybody likes Jim Carrey.
Yeah, he's not funny anymore like he used to be.
But his old stuff is still so fucking hilarious. It doesn't matter. I can watch Fire Marshal Bill nonstop.
Hey, that thing he did as a Rhode Island trooper taking a dump in the yard. Remember when he was squatting in that yard?
Oh yeah.
That was the best one ever. The looks on his face as he was doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great movie, and his 3 kids, I absolutely love that movie. There's a lot going on in there. I see why they don't like Jim Carrey.
That was very prophetic because now in LA and San Francisco and all these cities, they're actually doing that. On the sidewalk. It's okay.
Yeah, you can drop one wherever you want. Japan, people don't know that you're allowed to piss in the street in Japan as well. It's like a whole cultural thing. Yeah.
Oh come on.
Oh yeah. Don't make eye contact. They will freak the fuck out. But yeah.
Well, now eye-to-eye contact.
I'm pretty sure those are homeless people.
No.
Well, it's hard. Contact are we talking about?
Were you the one pissing out in the street drunk, off a base? Be like, it's legal.
It's cool. It's cool. Hey,
just don't turn around with it hanging out in front of the cop. That's a bad thing. Drunk or not.
What are you saying? I can't piss here? No, sir. You can piss outside. You can't piss on my shoes. It's a free country. All right. I'm drunk.
You can't piss on my shoes.
that's rude. Yeah.
It's rude. Yeah.
Really rude.
Sir?
Oh, speaking of TV,
I'm pretty sure somebody just whipped it out and started pissing on your shoes. I think you'd have a little bit more of a response than that's rude.
It depends. Are you a real cop? Are you a real cop? Or are you one of those fucking psychopaths where they'd execute you for it? No, like the funny ones would have been the one that you go back and this motherfucker. Yeah, I arrested him. But
no, man, I've seen that. When you get so shit faced, you're in them stalls and you're not paying attention. You're talking shit to the guy next to you. You ain't watching where you're aiming. And I guarantee you, it's going on his leg or on his shoe.
Well, because you're not supposed to turn like full towards them when you're talking to them is the problem. That's where you're making your mistake.
Oh God.
So now that we're all the way down. So what is this? The Jesse, what's his last name?
Who?
Smollett.
Oh, Jesse Smollett. Yeah, I was gonna make a joke earlier when you were talking about hemp rope, but then I was like,
I posted one of him and Bill Cosby sharing a cell. But fuck, man, like
that's going around. That is going around. Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me, man! Like just for the look, racism is real. Right? And the fact that rather than promote any of the actual fucking insane racist stories that have went on, every single day in America for all sorts of crazy reasons, right? He posted the whole story and made a whole I can't even fathom it. He went so far down that send him messages cut out of magazines and fake the whole beating and then the story. I don't know. I was a teenager in Texas, man, when that dude got drugged behind his truck in Casper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So these guys fucking, hardcore racists, right? Fucking catch this guy leaving his work or whatever. You know what I mean? And just fucking, and the guys weren't persecuted the way that you would expect them to be. He could have posted any story that he wanted about the insanity that goes on around the world. And instead, went on this fucking ego-driven fucking pity party and is continued. He just can't stop.
He's got issues, man.
In even the things that, he made this point to say, oh, well, I was getting, letters in the mail, did I make all those up? Yeah, you did. Crying on television. And now every time something real happens, those of us that are activists have to fight your story. We don't have to fight the racism. You've given our opponents the enemy that the ammunition they need now, right? We have to fight your story to prove that one's real. Every time something shitty happens, we got to look at his fucking face now, right? That's who we fucked over.
Yeah, he's gonna get. He left a paper trail. There was Uber transactions. There was fucking phone calls. He even gave the motherfuckers a fucking $3,500 check.
Yeah, look, man, I'm glad that you're fucking one of the lucky. I'm glad that you're one of the lucky people on the planet that has never been fucking, been racially attacked for one reason or another. But enough that you have to take that fucking. I don't know, man. It's a lot of the things that they were that were immediately said about the kid in the mega kid. That was
Covington High School.
That was in the high school, right? Yeah, where this guy has got exactly the same sort of come on, what's the word that I'm looking for? Where you're, not just elitism, but where it's owed to you.
Oh yeah, that kid is suing the Washington Post.
Entitlement.
Yeah, entitlement. He's got the same sense of entitlement that, when you live in a world that you're working in an industry where you're not exposed and beaten down with racism every day, that you feel entitled to that, right? That people need to be crying on your shoulder, that somebody should have been feeling bad for you because you've never been beaten in the street for being gay. In all of the things that are going on in the mega hat fucking wearing community, the gay thing really isn't one of them. Oddly enough, it's just not something that I hear from the Trump supporters at all, really.
Oh, man, they're too busy listening to fucking Q. That's the problem.
Oh, God. Yeah,
they're eating that shit up.
Those guys are getting.
Are they still?
They're getting so
bizarre.
Are
they still doing it?
Yes, they're getting more bizarre.
Are they still?
I'm serious, man.
They're thinking. Yeah. Now they're thinking because what's it? Melania had had a plant, and it kind of looked like a Q, that it means something, and I'm just like, oh my god, dude, you could tell these people anything and they would believe it.
Oh, they're just looking for Q. Now Trump did like call them out at one of his rallies. So like I've always wondered about that. So I mean, Trump did. I'm not saying that it's real, but the hype behind it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look, he'll anybody that says follow him, follow Trump, he will post their shit. Right? It doesn't matter whether you're a fucking white supremacist, whether you're like anybody. He will post anything if it's fucking pro-Trump.
What gets me is that it just falls right into the trap of like corporate driven, like Republican Party propaganda that they would preach to their mass of fools. And they're just eating it up, man. This fucking Q does it for them. It's just like, oh man, I mean, it's almost every one of it's like, oh man, like what Q said, or Q said this or that. And I'm telling this, it's like, fucking Q's is a psyop, man. Q's nothing. and they're like offended, it's like, it's weird because it's like an awakening for them, because like Q's open their eyes to like a couple of things, but the rest of it is bullshit.
Well, I think there's like
they still can't figure it out.
I think there's some, people run on symbolism. There's, in our everyday life, there's a lot of symbolism. And, besides the hat, they don't have a lot of symbols left. And a lot of the ones that demographic used to have are extremely unpopular now.
Yeah.
But I've always been under the impression maybe it'll pan out, maybe not. I think it's I think it's a Breitbart operation. I think that was their move to, why the Walking Dead, whatever the fuck his name was. Why Bannon moved on where he didn't move on. He's doing the same thing that he was, but
he's doing big things in Europe. Yeah, he's like doing what Soros is doing over there. With as much money or more. Yeah, he's going to hit you with the other side of it now.
Well, and Poland is lost it. They did make a good point with the Saudi Arabia thing, but yeah, Poland has fucking lost it. It's sad, but yeah, they did make a good point. Like, okay, you guys can have a mosque here the moment that you can have a cathedral in fucking Saudi Arabia. Fair enough. Like, I think the Saudi Arabians got to be, at the point, like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Like, I'm not agreeing with either race's policy, but it does get into a hypocrisy where you can't murder Christians in the street, you can't murder Muslims in the street. You can't murder anybody for their religious practices. Quit being a dick.
So maybe they just got to quit saying it long enough so they can meet at the table and pretend.
I don't know how this is going to work out, to be honest. Like, you see some of the problems in the world and how, like, insane, like, idiotic it seems at some points. You just, like, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah.
They've been really trying to work this out for a few thousand years. I'm not sure if they're going to.
Yeah, man, I've seen some smoke and mirrors before, but that's fucking ridiculous.
Like, you can't call out hypocrisy in the system that we work in. It's hard to like try to rationalize it.
Yeah, well, all these cabals, they don't like it. If you call out the Zionists, they don't like it. You're an anti-Zionist.
Yeah, so I mean,
if you call out AIPAC, you're anti-Semitic.
Yeah, you're anti-Semitic.
And probably
you're anti-Semitic. What?
On top of being an anti-Zionist. Oh man.
And even then, like, there was, she ended up apologizing for it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, as a good Muslim, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, I mean, it's not just as a good Muslim. Like, it's like I apologize to any. What are you apologizing for? I'm apologizing for being the only person standing here willing to talk about the genocide going on in Palestine. Okay.
It's that Israeli elephant in the room that we can't get rid of. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, this looks like fucking collusion to me. I'm not saying that like, like other countries should not have any control over the U.S. government, period. I don't care which country it is. Any countries. The name is not important to me. You can put in whatever name that you want. Is your country trying to control my government? I have a problem with that.
Should we go there with the Russian collusion?
Implosion. I'm using the word collusion because that's just the word that people can understand right now.
Gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah, I don't see our government, like, they are really pissed off about Hillary Clinton not getting the presidency. I don't feel the same way.
Well,
so,
the establishment is, I mean, they spent a lot of money trying to rig that one.
Yeah, even if he didn't even if he did work with the Russians, look, if he didn't, then we would have Hillary Clinton. I'm fine with that. Look, look, we would be fighting right now. We'd be fighting for another 4 years of fucking Hillary, right? Instead of getting Bernie Sanders, instead of getting fucking universal health care, right? We'd be fighting for the Affordable Care Act, right? We'd be right now. They would be starting the campaign for the second term of the Clinton campaign, the Clinton fucking regime. No way.
Oh man, yeah.
Instead, right? Bernie's gonna fucking destroy Trump in a landslide. Even Trump came out and said he likes fucking Bernie. That's sad when your opponents are all like, yeah, he's a good guy. Like, that's normally not Trump's reaction to hardcore socialists. Right? Normally those are his written speech, right, about Venezuela specifically was meant to fucking, you know what I mean, target Bernie Sanders. Then when he gets himself alone, right, when it's just him and a microphone, he's all like, yeah, I like the guy.
Whatever.
$20 says fucking Trump will vote for fucking Bernie Sanders. $20.
I don't know.
I gotta get out of here.
Hey, if he's really tired of it, I mean, there was some talk of that here and there, you know, how serious that was, but I mean, it'd be a real turncoat. It's like, man, I'm done with this. It's like, oh, well, you're just going to fuck all your supporters and the party and everybody over.
I think, it depends. You know, the best thing that he could do for the country would be to support Bernie Sanders, to be honest.
Ross Perot had some tweet like he might run again or some shit.
How old is he now? Christ. He's got to be too old, right?
He's way up there. It's like, oh man, fuck you. You had your chance back in the 90s and you fucked it up.
That's the roads they like to go down.
Dude,
it's not your age.
Back in the 90s?
It's not your age. It's not that you're a woman. It's not that you're black. It's not that you're white, right? It's that you're a corporate shill, and that's a problem. Right, that's the issue that I have with these Democratic candidates. It's not any of the things that they try to. Oh well, if you're against Kamala Harris, you're against the black vote. No, I'm against Kamala Harris because she put millions of thousands of my brothers and sisters in prison for a drug war that she knows is wrong. Right, for weed, for things that you boast about playing. The same way that Hillary Clinton, right, offended me by boiling down the black experience to hot sauce. You boiled down the Jamaican experience to smoking weed. That's all that you brought with your Jamaican heritage. Fuck you.
Well, she says she smoked it and all, and it's no big deal. And yet, then when you became a lawyer and a prosecutor, now you're hammering everybody for it.
Oh yeah, so
it's all a big joke.
You can smoke it in you can smoke it in college. You can smoke it in. I mean, by the numbers, right? Either you didn't know what music you were listening to, or you made the story up. But at the end of the day, you had no problems putting thousands of your brothers and sisters in prison, in some cases for decades, for the same thing.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do that. Especially not, you know what I mean? Plenty of DAs, right? In California, in New York, in Washington, in Colorado, in Oregon, took a stand against it. Where the fuck were you?
She's working her way up the Silicon Valley mafia out there, and in the San Francisco DA office. That's what she was doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a lot of the things that these candidates on the Republican and the Democratic side, their problem is not that they weren't good at their jobs. They're set up perfectly on what used to get you elected, right? You crossed the right palms, you worked for the right evil companies, you were connected to the right people, you supported the drug war, the banking industry, Israel, right? Whatever you got to do, you've signed off, you've checked off the tick marks that used to get you elected. Unfortunately, none of those things are what people are looking for anymore. In fact, some of those things are seen as negatives, right? 1990, you had to work with the banks, right? You had to. That's how you got into government. That's not the case anymore. Right? In fact, standing next to those same bakers will keep you from getting elected, right? You wanted to be elected in Texas, you had to be in the bed with the oil industry. You had to. Now, that's not the case anymore. If you don't say the words green power and solar, people aren't voting for you. And it's just we are at a time where things are changing. All of the things that used to get you elected, right, don't get you elected anymore. Being hard on drugs, right, doesn't mean the same thing anymore.
No, people are tired of that shit. That was all crap anyway.
Yeah, we have a worse drug problem than when it started. So the war on drugs doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and expecting us to continue to buy it. Like, okay, we gave it a go. We tried this for fucking 40 years. It didn't work.
Why not legalize everything and just start regulating it? And
well, I mean, there's a difference. It's like, you know, there goes to, why not take the power away from the drug dealers and prison industrial complex? Addiction is real. Why don't we start treating addiction?
Well, you know, that's the thing.
Look, if you get caught, you know, to put somebody in prison for getting, you know, the whole legality, let's legalize, and they like to paint this like everybody's going to be in the street fucking shooting up. No, you can get any drug that you want right now within about 15 minutes, anywhere in the country, anywhere. Right? That's just not the case. Now, the problems of addiction, that we do really need to do something about it. If you're addicted to crack, you are either going to or coming back from getting crack. There is no middle ground with that. You're a crack addict. So putting somebody in prison, right, for having crack is insane. The addiction is going to cause you to be going to or coming back from getting crack.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they had crack on you. You're a crack addict. You always have crack on you. Hence, crack addict.
Oh, you're a crackhead.
So saying, okay, well, because you're an addict of a drug, I need to give this billionaire that's invested in the prison industrial complex money. I need to pay someone to put you in a cage. That's a line of thinking that I have a problem with. The legalization, illegalization,
well, actually, the American Medical Association went from believing in complete abstinence to leaving them on maintenance medication for the rest of their life because it increases their life expectancy by like a millionfold. You know.
Well, and there used to be an idea that you could be, right? And now that's all been taken away. The most that you can expect in life to do if you fit into the system is to work your entire life in a factory, right, with your head down doing the same repetitive job forever to make somebody else rich. That is the perfect American citizen.
I also was going to talk about that. That's something that's not the case anymore. They are the private industry. You know, Pepsi is laying off thousands of people, mainly because of automation and
less than the same amount of money for and not have to go to work.
The automated part of it is not.
And this is something that we're dealing with. I've heard talked about, which is futurism, and and where do people go to have jobs once machines are doing all the tasks that humans can, and that's the kind of world we're kind of living in. And
well, the age of slave labor is going to end. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, these are the things, right? We can't bring in the cotton gin because, well, our entire system works on slavery. That was the excuse. This new technology is going to make it so I don't need slaves anymore. Those slaves won't have work. They won't have jobs. What are we going to do? Right. This was a real threat to them. Automation is the same thing.
Do you remember that cartoon? There was a famous Superman cartoon from the 1940s where it was called The World of Tomorrow. And everything was controlled by this evil genius, and the computers were doing everything, and Superman had to stop it because, you know, like that's like things like that are really happening, you know.
Well, I mean, we have evil people that are in charge of computers, right? The computers aren't evil in themselves at all. I see automation. There are plenty of things that humans can do. Right? You're saying the only thing that I can do is work to death in the bottom of a mine. I can't be a doctor. I can't be a researcher. Right? I can't travel this. You know, there's a unending line of great things that you could do with your life that you won't have a chance to because the only thing that you can do is work to death in the bottom of a mine. That's the best that they think of you as a citizen. We get into the thing with the you know, I don't want to go back, but the prison industrial complex. They'll build a prison somewhere. They'll hire people in a small town. Right? And then the excuse is, well, this is all we can do. Those are all the jobs in our town. Look, you could be a scientist. You could put a research facility there. You could put a communication system there. You could put anything that you wanted there, and the people in that town would work there. But the best that you think I can do is watch another person with violence in a cage. That's the best that you think I can do. That's the best that my town has to offer.
Yeah.
Right? We can't work in hydroponics. We can't kick out an endless stream of electricians, right? Of mechanics. The best that I can do is you can give me the right to be violent against a person if they leave this cage. That's the best that I can do in this society. And that's the problem, right? You get into those things. Well, we make, this here. We work as slave labor for this company. And the company will come and tell you, well, if we replace this with machines, you can't do anything else. What do you mean I can't do anything else? I'd make a much better scientist than I would make in your little... Right? But they'll like to talk to you and make it seem like these slave fucking industries, right? The industry that works on humans, right? The human's ability to create a something or another for another person's profit, right? Somehow is better off that way. Right? The slaves are happier being slaves, right? And I'm making money. And that's not true. You're always happier free. The endless things that you could do in an actually free society with real education, right, is endless. No, I don't want to die. And if you ask them, that's all you can do. That's all your town in Pennsylvania can do. And I personally don't agree with that. I don't have quite a fear of automation. The amount of things that I could make if I could just talk to the machines to make it. What? Right? The sky is the limit. That one idea that you had, most of the truly world-changing ideas are made in somebody's garage by some electrician or plumber that had a good idea. Imagine if he goes straight to the source and the next day that good idea is everywhere.
Well, yeah, they also have automation working in the construction industry. They already have the ones that can build houses already.
Yeah, and that's like look, there's maintenance that's on those machines. You need electricians, computer programmers, right? You need all sorts of, people you need all sorts of high-end jobs to do that kind of stuff. Our world is not always going to be ran on slave human labor. And it's always to the bottom. Right? The moment that they can't find children to build their supplies somewhere on the other side of the world is the moment where automation becomes completely obvious to them.
Yeah. I do want to change the subject a little bit. We do have some updates for the ACTA 2 update or protests.
Yeah, we do. Actually, positive news too. I mean, we now have support from 5 European countries. The Netherlands released a message representing the 5 countries: Finland, Luxembourg, and Poland.
Was Switzerland on there?
Italy.
All right.
No. Just these 5. Italy was on it. It's a pretty big industrial country in Europe, and they said it doesn't have. It's not. A good agreement between the rights of the big corporations and the human rights of the EU citizens, so they won't support the law, and they made like a public message on the Dutch government site, and they released it. So that's pretty good news, because up to now we only had support from some grassroots movement, 1 or 2 political parties, and some corporations who were like harmed by this. Now there is another that there was actually a negative thing that happened again, of course, at the same time, that the ones behind the ACTA law pretty much got scared by this. So what they did was they moved the talks to be sooner. We had a big protest planned for the 23rd of March. I think so many different groups will all go to the streets, but now they say like we need to have these talks before the 23rd of March. This is Axel Springer is behind this. They're like a huge media company. I think it's like the biggest media company in Europe. It's a German company that has like magazines, newspapers like Bild and stuff, and they are behind this copyright law. And they said like their actual head guys, by the way, is in the European Parliament lobbying for this kind of stuff, and he's also an MEP, like a politician in the European Parliament now. And he just said, like, yeah, we need these talks to be sooner, and before these actual protests, we just need to talk about this, finish this off, and censor the whole internet. That's pretty much what he wants.
Do they know? Do these guys who are writing these laws know how damaging the consequences will be?
I don't think so. And that's also what the Netherlands also said. We see a lot of legal mistakes in this law, and they pretty much threatened the rest of the EU. Like, if you're going to implement this law, then our lawyers can actually stop this in court. So there will be a legal fight about this, because like, there are countries who benefit from this stuff, but there are also countries who don't benefit from this stuff. And if you are talking about a country like Netherlands, for example, has like one of the largest internet exchanges in the world, probably the largest, the Amsterdam Internet Exchange.
Well, yeah, because you guys have access to the transatlantic pipeline. It's right there. It's right there in your country.
So what will happen is if there is a censorship law implemented here in the Netherlands, they're going to lose their business. No one wants to be here anymore. They will say, like, you have restricted internet. Why would we go there? We just go to Norway or to Switzerland, like Terence said. They will go to Switzerland. But you know that they don't have these laws, so we can just have a lot more rights if we put our service there. So
yeah, but it's cheap.
Yeah, so that's why.
Yeah, but no telecom company is going to dump another fucking 1,000 miles of fucking cable when it's already implemented in your country. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there you have it, and then there is also then you're at the point these super large corporations like Cogent and Level 3 and stuff, these actual cable owners, right? And Telia, Sonera, these companies are actually going to lobby too. They're going to say, like, no, we don't want this stuff. We have our cables connected here, and we need this part to be free or neutral, right? Not actually free, but neutral, so that it is not up to them. You can have like a lawsuit if you own a copyright. You can have like a lawsuit against a person, but you're not going to force us to be like sitting on this chair of judge. It's not our job
to police the internet for you. And it's not like, this is copyright infringement. You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to take the rights away from everyone because a 14-year-old is listening to a song that you didn't get your $3 for. Like, that's what it's about.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And
but they're making it so ridiculous that anybody could be sued over uploading an image that's copyrighted.
Well, and like I was thinking of it like earlier. Okay, so I mean, for the companies that just get, look, in every movie you're going to see Coca-Cola. You're going to see, you know what I mean, things that are in our general society. Imagine the revenue that those companies are going to lose when we have to go through and take all of it out. Right, when we go through a movie and just make an algorithm or make a piece for After Effects, right, that goes through and changes all of the cokes to a double E, right, that goes through the video or whatever and changes them all to something else. That's not hard to do, right? So when you drive by a billboard, okay, fine, we'll take all of the billboards out of every movie that's ever made and we'll replace them with ones from another company.
Yeah,
right,
no,
like, you're screwing yourself out of the free advertising that was, pretty much given to you in media. If you're driving down this street, these are the signs that are on it.
Even the founder of the World Wide Web, the creator, what's it, Heckner, right?
Tim Berners-Lee, he also spoke out against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. He actually said maybe we need like a new internet, or maybe I need to develop a new internet. Is kind of what he said. Like, he was so angry about all this stuff. Yeah.
Well, actually,
we also have the Wikipedia guy with us because Wikipedia will be fucked by this too. So.
Well, at what point, we're eventually going to get to a point of wireless where they won't have control over the internet.
Well, we could go around them. I mean, there are protocols that aren't being used in, develop a whole new network. I mean, it's not impossible. You just have to build it from scratch.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes, look at file sharing, right? Every time they've came down super hard on one, kind of file sharing, one way to file share it, we think of some more ways to do it. Torrents didn't exist the way that they did. There's all sorts of ways that you end up, making it worse, right? Censoring people always makes it worse.
Yeah, it does, and but it was always at the point like it was always human versus human or corporations versus human. But now we're at the point that the corporations actually manage to get the government involved, and then it will be corporations and government against individuals or against.
Here's the thing: is I don't get is why do corporations think that they own the internet when there are so many consortiums telling them that they don't?
I think we talked about that earlier with the water thing. Right?
No. I mean, there are legit companies, you know, out there. The consortiums, the ones who destroyed the rules of the internet. The internet doesn't belong to the corporations. It belongs. The people who make up the rules are by these organizations, and they were established in the 90s up to the early 2000s. Internet doesn't belong to them.
It gets institutionalized, though. You know, what started as commissions or some co-op or something always becomes some, you know, business down the line that gets controlled by the government when it gets big enough.
Well, it like goes back and forth between the two, you know, like it'll start out, you know, the taxpayer pays to have it all put together, and then the corporations take over and they get all the profits for it. So, you know, like it's, oh, you control the internet, but it was the American people that put together the infrastructure that it runs on, right? We put up the DSL lines, we put up all of it with taxpayer money. Why the fuck do you own it?
Well, actually, the original infrastructure was created by the government, the military.
Yeah, but it's not. The government doesn't exist without us. Like, that's exactly what I'm saying. There isn't. It's like, well, the government. No, we created the original infrastructure. We paid for that. The government isn't this like omnipotent fucking being, right? That, oh, well, I created the. No, we did that. We paid for that. That's our money. Those are our bills. Those are our, you know what I mean? Our funding projects paid for it. Why does it get to be given to this other company?
We have a fair point. It is a fair point. That's the U.S. taxpayer money. That's all it is.
Well, that's what happened with Musk. He got all the old NASA tech for like $1, and we've paid hundreds of billions for all that R&D. And we don't get anything except a further bill because he's making launches. Well, when do we get something back?
Yeah, where's that win? You know, we see the same thing, you know, Boeing. We pay for all of the Skuntworks, research, all of it, right? But we don't get any of the benefits of that research. We have to buy it from them. How does that work?
They're getting free R&D. That's what it is. It's stealth free R&D. You know, it takes them X number of years to get to it, but they're literally having it handed to them over time because they're the big guys, apparently. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how that. I don't understand how that works. How that's not just straight up bribery. Like, I thought we had rules to stop political corruption, right? How does this not count as that kind of political corruption? You're taking money to make laws, right? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, now I do understand that like if you're like a movie producer and you don't want like another movie producer to just steal your work and put his name on it, I understand it. But if you were like allowing your movies to be put out on like Netflix or whatever, then you know there is streaming software, and you know whatever is online can be like recorded and put online again by certain users.
Like, it's kind of like, you know, like I do get into the like boo fucking who. What, like Time Warner's going to make less money, right? The next Avengers movie isn't going to make billions and billions of dollars, right? Like, it's another one of those fat cat industries. And it's like, you guys are so fucking rich, right? I didn't hear you, you know what I mean? I don't see you bleeding so much of a heart to give any of those billions of dollars to the fucking jazz musicians that built this industry, right? How about all those bluegrass musicians that you paid nothing, right, and stole their work? You going to pay them since you're feeling so fucking moral all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Make movies, make good movies. That's it.
And for us, maybe we can just pay it, but how can people in Africa or in Asia pay for all this stuff? And are you even sure that they would watch your movie?
People to watch your movies, make good movies.
I agree.
That's it, right? Like, and that's like, but I mean, people will watch your YouTube.
So how do they prove in court that they're actually losing money? I mean, like these movies are pretty expensive. If you like buy like a DVD, maybe like $15, $20.
Well, you're gonna have to get the one without the submarine.
And for us, maybe we can just pay it. But how can people in Africa or in Asia?
If you look at like, look at the Jason Momoa is a good guy, right? Look at the Aquaman movie. Aquaman made how many billions of dollars? How many billions of dollars? Which part of the environment, right? In a movie that's made about doing nothing but saving the fucking oceans, right? How much plastic you got out of the fucking ocean with that billion that you walked away with?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
you could personally, we talked about Flynn earlier, $135 million. You guys made $2 billion a movie about oceans, right? How much plastic you got out of the fucking ocean? You could save any part of the world you wanted to. That you walked away with. Yeah. But I'm supposed to feel bad that you didn't get a fucking check on one fucking DVD in the heart of Africa. Bite me.
Well, nobody gets the kind of copyright and patent coverage they do. I mean, what's the special relationship that media gets with these long-term, never-ending copyrights?
Well, because they will do and say whatever the current administration needs them to do and say. Right? If you need movies that, you know, you're in the middle of war, right? We will kick out pro-war movies nonstop. Anyone you want. Right? Like they use our media as a movie itself is relatively good. And then you don't even realize the like narrative that they're trying to sell you.
Yeah, I don't get why they are like suddenly acting like they don't have to use like imagination. Like what I said before, like people in Africa or Asia can never pay for these DVDs, but like if they watch your movie, then they did actually see your movie. They maybe affiliate with these heroes and stuff, and maybe you can actually sell other merchandise related to this movie. Or let's say if you're like a musician and they actually hear your music online, maybe it allows you to have a concert in fucking China. Like,
yeah, I think there's much money. Yeah, I think that the benefits to free information, right, to free music, to movies, to all of that stuff is much more. I'm not there. You are going to make as a giant movie theater, right, as a giant movie industry. You guys are going to make plenty of money. But once again, you're filthy, sticking rich and fucking really sweating whether some poor people are going to get to watch your film.
Yeah.
Right. And like I use the superhero thing because it's like you claim, right, you've made this whole movie about helping the planet, saving the fucking planet, actually helping people. That's what this whole thing is about. Right. And then your answer to that is to immediately come down on the poor and struggling around the world. Like, am I missing something? Like you make an entire movie about saving the oceans and don't save any of the oceans.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, it's just corporate PR.
Yeah, it really, to me, it really is. And like the excuse, well, we're not going to make profit. My world doesn't exist on profit, so I don't particularly care.
Imagine how much free advertising they would get actually from if they would actually do that, right?
Well, I think way more revenues, way more revenue in the end through freedom than there is through oppression. Different people for sure. Right, so the people in power might not be the people that are there. I look at like, you know, their hatred of YouTube and social media. Right, artist gets on YouTube, people like them. They can do nothing but do their own fucking makeup, and they've got more money than they could have went through to any of your record deals, any of it, because it comes straight to them. When they cry about, you know, copyrights and musicians specifically, musician gets points off of a CD. Right, if you sell, you know what I mean, you sell it for $15, they get 0.001 of that. You're not fighting for the artist. The artist would make more money if you didn't exist. The same amount of popularity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my thing is, like, now you're real upset about it. Okay, so all of the like I said, all of the jazz musicians, right? All of the especially like country in the beginning of country, when it was still like very like, you know, Afrocentric in many senses, where a lot of that movement came from, you know, from the slaves and from you know, church music and all of that stuff, you know, hymns that all kind of like got put together. They fucked over every single one of those artists. Fuck all the way down to Dolly Parton. Right? Okay, fair enough. I'll push this, right? You give Dolly Parton the $100 million you owe her. Right? How much money have you made off of her? But you had no problem fucking her when you got the time, right? That was it. You took everything that you could and made sure that none of those artists made, and you can name them. I'm not trying to get, you know what I mean, get into, you know, the kind of music doesn't particularly matter. Right? Whether you're the beginning of hip hop, whether you're a young artist, whether you're an old country artist, right? Whether you're a jazz musician, they have spent the entire time that they've been around fucking us, and now I'm supposed to be upset about it. Oh, they're stealing your music. Bummer. How's that shit feel? Right? Go and talk to all the artists in Motown. it, right? They use it in commercials, right? They use it in ways that you don't even think that they're using it. You know, they'll put up a caricature of an artist and you don't realize, you know, all of the people that they stole from to make that happen. So yeah, at the bottom line, I don't really, if your answer, you know, if people's answer is what about the profit, I give zero shits about profit.
Yeah, and but it also, like, it also has to do with recognizability. Like some famous actors, only because of their movies and because they were seen everywhere, do they have any value in like commercials or whatever, and they can make their money. I mean, but they kind of lost their way. It is all about like the direct money and not about being like a form of art in society. That's very disturbing.
Yeah, I think like any time that they've got, you know, whether it's movies, whether it's music, right, that corporate influence always ends up, you know, never ends up to our benefit. And like you see that now, like, you know, there's so many independent films, and as soon as you watch them, they're like, wow, that is the best movie I have seen in decades.
Yeah, true.
And it's not because those ideas don't exist. It's because they don't get a chance against fucking Paramount. Oh, you can't make a superhero movie. We own all of those. But the one that they would make would be 1,000 times better than the one that you made.
Yeah, and then people would complain again because they don't have the money for the special effects and all these things. And then,
well, even if they do, I'll look up the name of it. Right, the last couple of Star Trek movies have kind of sucked. Right, there's an independent movie that was made at the same time that goes into like some Vulcan shit and some, you know, cool Star Trek stuff. It's a great movie. It's pretty much, and it has some really big, like, you know, A-list and B-list actors in it that were interested in the project, read the script and loved it, right? They've been shut down by, you know, by the movie studios and copyright bullshit. But at the end of the day, the movie is great. If you cared about the art, if you cared about the artist, you would push it. You know what I mean? It's a great movie. There's another one that's even smaller. That's a Joker movie. That's about the Joker before he became the Joker. It is fucking mind-blowingly good. One of the best movies that you'll see, and you can go down that through, you know, several different genres and all of that. But the big boys don't get a piece, so you don't get to see it. And if they try, right? Well, you guys were drinking a Coke in it. You're getting sued.
So what is it like? I guess.
But yeah, I'm not. Yeah, fuck. You know what? If you're a $1 billion company, I have very little sympathy for you. Just in general.
My thing is, there's a lot of other $1 billion companies that do machine tools. They're into other industries. They don't get this kind of protection for their R&D for whatever they create. That's my whole problem. I mean, you know, it's like, well, wait a minute. That's like you have all these established. You know, rules for all that, and then all of a sudden now it's different for media and all this, and I'm just not buying it.
Well, and they'll use.
They're not that special. It's just.
Yeah, they definitely like.
And the actors and everybody, you've made your money. You've already made money.
Yeah, and they do make quite a bit. I remember, like, what is it? Chris Rock was saying in like an interview, not like one of his stand-up, I think, and he goes, you know, about who he lives, you know, he at the time he was the biggest, you know, before Dave Chappelle, right? He was the biggest comedian out there, right? Highest paid, whatever. And he said in his house, you know, in his neighborhood in California, he's the biggest star on the, you know, the biggest comedian on the planet. He lives next to a dentist, right? Same price house, right? Same whatever. That means even if you're the biggest, now the record company, you can't live on their island, right? The actual production company, right? The owners of that, they live on a different level than you do. But as a star, he's not the best dentist in the world, right? He's an average dentist. That's how much you get paid. But we make that industry seem like it's way bigger than it is. Mm-hmm. But the people there don't own, you know, the limos and planes and a lot of times jewelry and women and fast cars. The companies own all of that. So when they're done with you, that all goes away. In fact, you owe them for any of it that you used.
But that's like, see, that's the thing. It's like any job. Any company can hire you, fire you. You know, you're a commodity, a human resource, right? I mean, there's no. There's no this like, oh well, wait a minute. I worked there the year, and you guys made a ton of money off this product, so I get this much of a percentage.
Yeah, I get a piece of it.
Know? we all get a little piece of that, and then so that's millions of dollars for me, and I want my protection. They're gonna laugh at you. It's like, get the fuck out of here. It's an aluminum product or what? It's just like they don't give a shit about that. Oh, but it's a movie and they're actors and all. It's just like, get out of here, man. That is nothing compared to the research and all that goes on and other things. Nothing.
Well, I mean, if you want a perfect example, look at Nikola Tesla, right? Like, perfect example. If they feel that they own some, a product that you're making or an idea that you're on, right? They get full use of it, and you don't get anything. They will straight up steal it from you.
Yeah.
And you can't go back and look at. Oddly enough, right? This is why this is why the media gets the point of importance that it is. When they wanted to undermine Nikola Tesla, how did they do it? Through the media. Right? They made cartoons and movies and fucking put him in Superman, right? That was the plan, to discredit him, not because he was a bad person, because they wanted to steal his shit. And by extension steal our shit. Right? Free power was supposed to be ours. We should have had that by now, right?
Yeah, they're not selective. It isn't just about Tesla or any of these people. This is what they do. It could be to you or me, or you're just in the way.
That poor guy in Canada
of their money.
That poor guy in Canada that made some sort of, I don't know the specifics, some sort of power source that they immediately went and kicked open his door and took it. Surprise! Copyright infringement.
National security. We had to kick in your door, figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it is still like big corporations attacking you. But the second they become like intermingled with the governments, and they actually use the governments to attack you, it becomes very, very dangerous. I mean, with the Pirate Bay, we saw all that stuff. They actually tried it. They sued national internet service providers to block the Pirate Bay. And I think that kind of scared them. That it took them so much work to get the Pirate Bay blocked in certain countries, and now they're like doing this Europe-wide, and then they will have the government do an entire filter and like block the entire thing at once. Like, I think the entire concept of torrents will soon be blocked. So,
well, what did they like? It was .com, right? So or Kim.com. That was Mega Upload.
Yeah,
I think it was. And I mean, they came down really, really hard on him. I don't think he ended up doing any time, but they took all his money. Like, they definitely did everything they could to try to, attack him for people uploading stuff. Uploading information. Can't upload information. They have to have control over all information.
Yeah, and Kim.com, he was, luckily for him, he was smart enough to actually use it to stay in publicity. So he was able to use his publicity to start something new and to actually make some new money. But yeah, they took all of it from him, yeah.
Yeah, that was, I think New Zealand ended up taking most of it. And then, like, confiscating all his shit. There was a lot that went into that.
Yeah, armed raids, like 20 cars or something they took from him.
For nothing but information. And I mean, nothing, he didn't upload anything on there. Nothing.
Well, and he wasn't the only one either. I mean, back then when Mega Upload, there were many, like RapidShare and other sites that did exactly the same thing. And I think RapidShare was even larger than Mega Upload. But yeah, I mean, he got taken as an example because he was kind of like a well-known figure or something, and they could use him as kind of like they do to Assange with WikiLeaks, right? Scare the rest by using one of them as an example.
Yeah, that's totally worked.
Assange, saw something on this list here, got a Australian passport.
Yeah, he got an Australian passport mailed to him.
Yeah, that was his mom had posted about that earlier today, and like put up a poll to see like what is the game here. Now, like, Australia does expedite, so be careful, man.
He's also nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, most people that the government's trying to kill are nominated for Nobel Peace Prizes. That's weird, but that's just the way it is.
Going to give you an award, and then we're going to throw you in jail.
Yeah, I think we can name. I want to know the numbers on the amount of Nobel Peace. Peace Prize recipients that are being watched by the CIA.
Probably up there.
Well, Yasser Arafat won. We know they were watching him.
They just gave one to Obama. That was smart.
Yeah, they gave. I wanted to say that too. They gave one to Obama for droning people.
Yeah, well, he hadn't started droning people yet, and even he was all like, "Guys, hey, give me a chance."
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I'm literally looking at paperwork to fucking carpet bomb small children. I really don't need this right now.
And they never took it back from him after he did all that.
I don't think there's a process to take it back like that, is there?
Man, I want to say there is, but
I think he was just like,
they do that.
It's mine now.
We're calling it.
Like every time he'll bring it up, I got a free surprise. No bell, baby.
Well, hell, anybody else? I mean, it looked like Michael Jackson. You know, the moment you're not the golden boy anymore, I mean, they just throw you to the wolves, man. Didn't matter how much money you donated; they just pull your awards and everything else, take your plaque off the wall, all the rest of it. You know, you're a scumbag, man.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of research about Michael, and fuck, it's hard to really tell what's up. It really is super hard to tell. I'd love to get to fucking talk to Macaulay Culkin once, like no bullshit, like just ask some questions fucking directly. But man, everything that I've seen, yeah, it's weird.
Okay, well, there is something to say for Macaulay Culkin. I think he did actually. You never saw him in new movies anymore, so he was actually. There is something that happened to him too. I mean, that he was like blocked out by the big producers. So.
Talking.
Yeah, I don't know what and I don't know what the story is, because he's always been like pretty, like really supportive of Michael Jackson, and I don't know if it's one of those they would have liked you to say stuff and you didn't. You know, like what's the deal?
Macaulay was also using a lot of drugs up until recently. So
yeah, he had lost it there for a bit, but child stars, that's not.
Well, he's
not
got
uncommon.
I'm not sure if he's sober, but he definitely has his shit together now.
Yeah, I haven't seen him. Like, I know he's been in a couple of things recently. I haven't seen him.
I saw him in some things. He was on Cinemassacre. He did a whole Home Alone thing where he was playing video games with Cinemassacre. He seemed.
Yeah.
He seems like he's got it, and he was on Ellen last winter too, because Google had used him in a winter ad.
Good on him.
Yeah. So.
Like I like Macaulay Culkin. That was the reason that I said it. Like, I think that if he said, man, I don't think it. If he said it didn't happen, I don't think it did. I don't know.
He seems like he's got his shit together now. He's not all. If he is.
I think he went through some. I think he went through some tough times. I mean, and like when you've got money and those halls of power, fuck, they love to keep you fucking drugged up. So it's just it's unfortunate that part of his life happened, but yeah. Drugs, sex, and rock and roll.
Yeah, but is drug addiction actually a reason for not being shown in these movies? I mean,
I doubt that was his reasons for not being shown. I mean, once, especially if you're a child star, once you're no longer a child, fuck, it's hard to break out of that. Everybody wants you to be the Home Alone kid, and you're not that kid anymore. Yeah, you're not that guy anymore.
Speaking of movies, Netflix canceled all of their Marvel series like 2 days ago.
For everything,
everything, because Disney decided. Disney decided that they own, since they own the rights to Marvel and they're opening up their own streaming service, they canceled everything on Netflix. Which is they canceled The Punisher. They canceled Luke Cage. They canceled the Iron Fist. They canceled Jessica Jones. They canceled every fucking and the Punisher was actually having really good ratings on Netflix.
Yeah, and the guy that plays the Punisher, he's a pretty cool guy.
I even RT fucking Eminem, because Eminem was pissed too.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Like, I mean, a lot of these, I don't know, man. Like, when it comes to the entertainment industry, like...
This is all Disney's fault.
Yeah, it's an industry.
Yeah, they're always playing their games against each other.
Why would they cancel the whole series when it was successful?
Because we own it. And you don't get to use it unless you ask us.
But that's not what the fans want the story to go on. That's where the money is. They don't understand.
This is a giant media industry. They don't give a fuck about the kids.
You ruined my childhood dreams.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
That's not really their expertise.
Yeah, but how hard is it to make like a 50-50 deal or something? Like, just for this one time, like, because the series is running anyway, make like a 50-50 deal and just let it run and then finish.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh yeah, if you were a smart executive, yeah, but they're all wound up in their control freak. They just like shut
You're
it
gonna
down.
you're gonna get paid regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and the amount of times that you listen to like interviews or commentary, and most directors at some point say the exact same thing. Why was this movie shit? Because of the studio involvement. Right? What, like, that's like most of them. Why isn't this the greatest movie ever? Because the studio fucked it up.
Well, that always happens. Every time the big time managers, because they've been so out of touch with what's actually going on for so long, they don't know. They got ideas and they got the power, but they really don't know.
But I mean, making, storytelling. Imagine if you were trying to tell, if you tell your favorite joke, and every time you got fucking into telling the joke, somebody stepped in and was like, "Oh, can you change it to a black guy? How about somebody a little bit taller? You know what I mean? Like every single thing. Well, I mean, maybe another main character, right? No, change direction. Can we have a plot twist? That's really hot right now. You know what I mean? Like that would be really, really difficult to make anything a substance, and that's exactly what we get into with the movie making industry.
Oh, don't piss off the Saudi Arabians or the North Koreans.
Oh yeah,
or the
Netflix bowed down to the Saudis too. They removed some of their shit off the platform because the Saudi government got pissed.
Yeah, like what? And again, I'm supposed to cry about your copyright infringement.
Well, everything's getting politicized. That's
the problem. You can't say anything about the... I mean, and that's the deal. Like, chances are what you were hiding about what the Saudis didn't like wasn't a lie. Right? Because lies, they don't really push for you to take off of the internet, right? It's the truth that they really got to get rid of.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I mean, I doubt that it was a video saying that the Saudi government is not like guilty of murder.
It was a comedian that was making fun of the Saudi government, and the Saudi government didn't like it. Probably because
they took down Seth Rogen's movie for the North Korean thing, didn't they?
You know what's really weird is Netflix has over the last year.
Was it Seth Rogen?
They pulled a lot of the shit off of their platform, and I have no idea why.
Well, because these governments get pissed off, or they'll say something. Dubai. I mean, there's a long list of companies now, or countries rather, that tell these companies what and what not to say.
Yeah. Whoa! Was that a disparaging word about genocide? You can't talk about that.
Yeah. Where can you watch the interview now?
The internet.
That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's been the case. I mean, at the same point, like, name something that they've taken off of the internet that you can't still find.
That's true. It's archived somewhere.
Yeah, like, you'll find it you can find it anywhere. Well, we were having that conversation a while ago about Chef 90, right? Fuck, I haven't seen Chef 90 code in like 3-4 years. I had to go look at it. You can still find it on the net.
Well, yeah, the oldest torrent is still up there too. It's I think the oldest torrent is the old Matrix ASCII torrent. It's still up.
Yeah, so I mean, if you couldn't get rid of that, and Lord knows you've been trying.
Well, it's not exactly copyright if you replace all the pixels with ASCII text.
Yeah. But they'll push the line and get rid of it, and you're a nobody, and you lose your voice when they take down your pages.
Oh God, what else is going on in the world? Oh yeah, so Mark Zuckerberg had an interview this week that was hilarious, and he said that he is one of the innovators of privacy.
Well, I've thought that for a long time too. That's amazing. He's coming up with that.
Yeah, that was honestly, when you think of Zuckerberg, you think, wow, there is a man that protects my privacy.
How many times have we said that?
So now, did he have that same mindset when just random people walk into your main office and offer to buy information off you for $100,000, or was that a recent thing?
Oh, in the internal documents when he was referring to children's data as whales.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was.
Well, what's the thing? It's Amazon? Is it Amazon or Google that has the secret microphone?
It's
scandal.
Google.
It's Google.
It's Google. They had it embedded into the Nest, and nobody knew it was there. I knew it was there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, come on. I mean, that is the least believable story of all time.
Well, I think it should even buy this tech, man, and put it in so you spy on yourself. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, we didn't. It's a piece of electronics, right? It doesn't do anything that you don't tell it to do. Right? Like it's not an Android, right? It didn't think up to do this itself. You made it. You installed microphones, right? You let them secretly record. That's done on purpose. You know, there isn't any rogue self-replicating code that's being built behind it.
Well, I thought it was obvious to everybody because the Nest devices, they have the audio pickups, and you can also talk. It also has an internal speaker where you can speak to the people through the Nest device. I thought it was obvious to everybody that it was in there.
Well, I mean, it should have been, but it's the company that's made its quite a bit of money off of taking your personal information would still be taking your personal information. No. And you didn't. You're a big company. You didn't notice the extra $100 million, $200 million to put all the microphones in there. Those microphones cost to have installed. They didn't magically appear there.
I thought
right,
it was
you
obvious
bought them.
To everybody that they were in there. Well, I guess your average user isn't oh, well, what does this do?
Okay, all devices that are sold, that have really been sold in the last 5 years, right, have the ability to spy on you. Some of them are required by law to be able to spy on you.
Yeah, when the military Pentagon guys tell you that they're listening to you from their microwaves and the washing machines, they ain't lying.
Well, remember what I told you about the fun antenna hack? If people can do the fun antenna hack, via really weird ways of hacking something. Anything can be used to hijack and send data anywhere that isn't connected on the net.
Yeah, and then I'm always under the impression, just from our industry, right, from Anonymous in general, if you're connected to the internet, we can get into it. I mean, that's more than been proven at this point. Anything. And if you have a way to update it, if you have a way to upgrade it, right, we can get into it. There isn't a system, a bank code, or there isn't a device that doesn't have a way to update it that we can't get into. Now, can you build something that is built specifically to not be interfaced with? Yeah. But if you can update it, we can get into it one way or another.
Yeah, that's the point. It isn't standalone, and it always interfaces with something else, and that is usually the entry point. If it connects to a Windows, then a Windows is an entry point, and that is a concept. It always works together with something else, and that always can be penetrated. It's not.
Well, it was. If you look at the heart monitor, right? They had a a big scare about that the heart monitors could be hacked into.
Oh yeah,
and then they came out with
They
came out with the the kind of quote unquote unhackable heart monitor. Well, the heart monitor was unhackable. Yeah, I mean that's a weird word, but yeah, you couldn't stand right in front of the heart monitor itself with your cell phone and get into it, but the software to update it, right? The company that you subcontracted the updating software was extremely vulnerable, right? And it's always it's always that easy. Once that code is anywhere near the place that it needs to be, that's over, right? Every device that has the ability to be updated has the ability for us to get into it.
Also,
do we have that kind of time, energy, or no?
Well, I learned through that watching this Funtenna hack is that stuff that you didn't think that could be that was able to broadcast something can be done via software. It's the most bizarre shit. You guys got to see the video. It's the most bizarre shit, but things that you didn't think that could be hacked can be.
Oh, and I mean, you can, you know, if you have a little bit of skill with radio waves, I mean, you know, there is a lot of ways to get into an electronic device.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, to hacking isn't always to, like, you know, I guess recently because of the leaks and everything, it's always been to get information, right? But I don't have to, you know, hack it or get information off of it to overload a system, right? To overheat a system, to affect a part of it. Those are all involved in hacking as well. You know, if you look at things, you know, that have been popularized, you know, DOS attacks and stuff like that, right? You know, a lot of times that's just, you know, having more people connect than it actually needs to, you know, or has the ability to handle. But you're not literally hacking into the system, right? You're overwhelming a flaw that's in it. Now you extend that to a heart monitor, right? You're not actually hacking into the heart monitor, but you know a little piece that, you know, that has an effect that would, you know, destroy the entire system. You know, the right radio wave can do that. You know, that the metal reacts at a certain radio wave or a certain point, and a piece in there reacts to a certain radio wave, and you can heat that piece up. Yeah, you can heat that piece up. If you can heat that piece up, then you can destroy it, and that's just having to do with knowing, you know, some basic physics, right? If I know that this metal that you guys used in it, you know, becomes, you know, less effective, or an adhesive or any of those becomes less effective when exposed to a certain radio signal, right? You can do that, and not that difficult, if that makes, you know what I mean, if that makes sense. And just give an example. I'm not saying that's how it's done, right? Before the feds come and shoot me, right? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And arguably, many companies DOS themselves too, like are releasing something at the wrong time, and a network becomes overloaded, or something else happens. Like you're saying, everything can actually be manipulated, and but I don't understand, if you have a good working heart monitor or even a pacemaker, why would it even need updates? Why do you connect to something on the outside?
Why in God's name would you put it on the internet?
Well, I think this had to do with, like, yeah, there was some abilities to update it and, like, get information back and forth between it, you know, so it would tell you if everything's working okay or not working okay.
Yeah, so, don't you think you would restrict that to an NFC, like near field communication, rather than something like that could be like Bluetooth, where you have like a range of anywhere between a few meters to 100?
Yeah, but near field, you know, communications is kind of a misnomer, because I can put a booster, or I can put a, you know, a communication device in your general area, and I don't have to be there. So, I mean, a lot of times, even now, I don't have to be in the same room to interact with your router or devices on that router. Right,
there are techniques for that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe you could definitely interact with somebody or a device. If I know that you know, the piece that I need to interact with you, you know, I can put that somewhere, and I can be in another building, another office, or whatever.
That's true.
I do get how they want to, like, maybe cut costs or something, that they like monitor all these heart patients at once, and then see, like, there's something wrong with this guy.
Did you get the heart monitor from the, like, you know, the congressional healthcare plan, or did you get the heart monitor from the one that we get, right? Like the common person gets. You know, that one, chances are.
Yeah, shut it down, reboot it. He'll live.
yeah, it's fine. Oh no, you just have to shut it down, turn it off, and turn it back on a couple of times. I can only imagine calling tech support for your heart monitor. Is your heart monitor working now? Yeah, but I feel like I only got a couple of seconds, dude. Did you try turning it on and turning it back off? No, it's my heart monitor. Or pacemaker.
Well, they always had that problem with the pacemakers. That way back when, you couldn't even get next to a microwave. I mean,
yeah, or put you through one of the metal detectors.
Oh man.
Well, I think Cheney just uses the hearts of children, doesn't he? So I mean, that's got to be, I don't know if that's cheaper, or he's gone through his third heart. No,
Cheney. How do you get away with that? I mean, he has to have some problem.
Well, I thought, like, okay, I could see the first heart, right, that you made it to the top of the list. But your third heart? How do you get 3 hearts when there's people out there, children out there, that are on the list for 1 heart? Like at a certain point, like you'd have to be like, I'm sorry, man, but you're 80 years old. I'm not giving you another child's heart. I'm gonna give that heart to a child.
Well, you see these drunks. I mean, there's been who was that guy? He played J.R. Ewing on Dallas way back. He got like 4 livers. Same thing. It's just how do you do that? Yeah.
How do you keep on getting livers and not like get sent to an actual rehab first? Like, look, man, I'll give you the liver, but come on, it's the 4th one.
I think
take it. You have to take it easy, man.
You just call up that Chinese hotline, and they run one of their mobile vans out there, and go find one for you. You know,
they'll find you kidneys in India, easy. Kidneys and hair.
Hair.
Yeah, so all the fake hair, right, is shaved off of people. It's like it's a huge industry in India. So yeah, most of the fake hair that you get, fake human hair, for all sorts of wigs or all of that is all sent from India. Some of it on purpose, that's like a legitimate industry, but a lot of it not so much. Just like you got lying nice hair, somebody fucking jumps out the van, scalps you real quick, and jumps back in.
Okay.
Incredible. Yeah, it is like that.
That's how you do it, man. Yeah, because if you're like the regular Joe, you're waiting for your HMO to take care of it, you're not going to get that call, man. You're not really even on the list. You're costing them money.
Damn. Okay. What else is going on? World. I guess Juan Guaido's ambassador took control of Costa Rica's embassy for Venezuela. That happened. That happened.
Well, hey, when you got some shady American backing, you just say shit like that, huh?
Yeah, I guess. Okay, well,
it's okay.
Costa Rica told all of Maduro's goons to get out of Costa Rica. So,
where's that? Where they were like hanging out, or
I don't know. I guess
like why were they in Costa Rica? I know a lot of people have been running.
Well, it was their It was their embassy. So so Juan Guaido's ambassador took over the embassy.
So that I don't know. Costa Rica usually stays pretty neutral on things. That's unusual.
Well, I mean, they're the Maduro government needs to be changed. Needs to be like the people, the government that the people want needs to be elected. It's the American hard-on for the military invasion that I don't agree with. Yeah, chances are Maduro's got to go.
Yeah, but either way, Maduro ran that country into the ground. He denies that there's any problems, even though people are eating out of garbage cans in the street.
Yeah, but that's standard political. I mean, no politician comes out and says there's people eating in the streets. Our government comes out every week and says everything's all good. It's not all good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the standard feel-good propaganda.
Yeah, but their money is devalued like 1,000 times last year. Like their money is worthless.
Well, yeah, and look, there's issues that are economic that are affecting them, but how much different economically would they be if you didn't have the biggest economy in the world trying to fuck you?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Cuba hasn't done well. Hasn't done well in certain places either, but that is because we've done everything humanly possible to destroy it. Like, this isn't new. We weren't happy with Venezuela with the last government either.
No, I remember one of them called Bush the El Diablo Blanco. Remember?
Oh yeah, and he would only, but that was even funnier. He wouldn't talk directly to Bush. He would only talk directly to Condoleezza Rice. So with all of his letters, with all of his correspondence, with all of his things,
dear white devil, fuck you.
He would
Venezuela.
That's almost like preacher talk, in a way. Let's hear that from.
I would, but I mean, okay, when you got that when that letter came to the White House and it's addressed, "Dear White Devil," like, did you instinctively know to send it to Bush, or did you think maybe someone else in the staff, or like, who do you send that to? It says White Devil. Is this yours?
If you're emissary or your ambassador.
I'm the man. White Devil's down the street.
Oh, God.
2 halls over.
Remember,
it's the one that says Graham on it. You'll see him.
I don't know. Maduro keeps on saying, hands off Venezuela, USA, and he keeps on saying it. And I'm like, dude, like, I hate this. I hate to blow it to this guy, but like, if he doesn't, this isn't the, United States isn't the only country that's interested in Venezuela right now.
Well, they're going to get attacked one way or the other. They're in the crosshairs for getting taken over.
He just cut off contact to Brazil too.
Well, that's over Brazil sending aid. There's been some of it's a standoff. Red Cross says that they're not. The U.S. tried to send some stuff to their local warlords.
The roads to Colombia from Venezuela and the roads to Brazil from Venezuela are shut off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's literally doing, what somebody at the end of their power is trying to hold on to whatever he can, knowing that it's gonna fucking fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, I think he knows that he may know that it's coming. I mean, he's going to kind of, erratically try to respond to it and keep power. But, a fear that Maduro may kill innocent civilians is not a reason for us to come in and kill innocent civilians, right? Our fix has to be better and less violent than the psychopath in power now.
We don't.
And that's the question that I would ask. Like, okay, we're worried about the violence on the street. What's your plan? We're going to carpet bomb them. Okay, that's not going to work for me.
We don't have a track record of doing that, though.
Yeah, look, okay, fine. You got a way to get into Venezuela. You know how to get the fuck back out? Because y'all have a sneaking, like, you guys always have a way to get there. Show me that exit strategy. And just for shits and giggles, is this war going to cost us more or less? Right, because we've never had a war that seems to ever cost us less.
Yeah, they haven't been interested in winning a war for a long time. I guess since World War II, really.
Yeah, we've got our interest, and that was only as long as it put us into the prolonged, endless war of the Cold War.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, that you could beat a guy like Hitler. I mean, that was a real war. I mean, never, and that only took 4 or 5 years, and it's just like, why are we bullshitting around, 17 years in Afghanistan? I mean, it's just so outrageous.
Our enemies quit having names, right? We learned that lesson, right? When we went to war, in the end with Germany, we were there to kill or capture Hitler, right? That was the deal. Our enemy had a name. The Nazis had, those people, their leadership had a name. We learned that you can't keep a war. People expect you. And really, we didn't learn that until the very end, until we finally got Osama bin Laden, right? And that was the last enemy that had a name, right? And we learned the only way to keep these wars going on forever, right, is to make sure your enemy is nameless. They need to be ISIS, right? ISIS isn't a person, right? ISIS isn't a leadership. It's ominous. We need to fight terrorism, right? We need to fight Al-Qaeda. Peoples, but no names. And that's something that's changed, and that's done on purpose. You can fight an unnamed, unperson, and we do the same. Every war takes away, I'm not fighting the Vietnamese people in this village, right? I'm looking for Charlie, an unnamed person, right? The Viet Cong.
VC.
Right? When your enemies no longer have names, you should start asking questions. Even how they're spinning this, right? We've got, Maduro, but we're real quick. It's just the socialism, right? We need to rout out socialism. Socialism doesn't have a name. There's no leader that you want. If that government was doing well or not doing well, doesn't matter because it doesn't have a name, right? You can fight socialism forever. Socialism, communism.
Yeah.
The Russians.
I don't know. There's Venezuela. The infrastructure just reeks of problems. Even their own military have gone, parts of them have gone rogue.
Yeah, but you know what? When you take corruption out of the equation, let's see how many of these isms still are the huge problem. Right? Is your problem socialism, or is the problem the huge amount of corruption in the country? You know, is our problem capitalism, or is it the problem of the huge amount of corruption in our government?
Yeah, that's it. It's really the same answer. I mean, in both systems. I mean, socialism, you know, I don't think it would ever be as good as capitalism. Socialism kind of, you know, depends on capitalism, honestly. You know, it's just a different way of tweaking it. They have to have something to tax, and you know, for their whole system to work, there still has to be something going on. You know.
The positive part of the economy is the deal. You know, and to say, you know, I in no way would want or, you know, need America to be a socialist country. There's parts of our government that are based on a socialist idea. Right? You can throw democratic socialist on it, but the deal is we all work together, we all get health care. That's it. Right? Now, of course, that needs ways to pay for it, funding, blah, 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 you know, all of that stuff. Our problem isn't with capitalism or socialism. It's that there's a huge amount of like allowed corruption. You shouldn't be able to have people killed because they say nasty things about you. That's a problem in so many countries.
Yeah.
But we break it in, well, that's a communist country. No, you're lining people up and executing them for free speech. That's the problem. You know,
the problem is many people confuse such systems with having the need for authoritarianism too, right?
Oh yeah, and those ones they all agree on, right? They love some authoritarianism. That you don't hear them railing about. Because they see themselves as being, even in, you know, they can't even hide it, right? They like being in the authority.
No,
they are the authority.
That's what they all have in common: collectivism and the authoritarianism. Every government. There really is no, you know, like true right-wing free government anywhere that I see. They all operate basically the same.
Yeah, and I'd say I agree with that.
Just monarchy 100%. Or, you know,
like there's a little
the
tiny...
Muslims, you know, no matter who, what religion or whatever, it always comes down, you know, you got the same corrupt guys or cabals or mafias or all the same shit's going on, same kind of corruption.
Yeah, there's just the reason they're killing you and taking your stuff is better than the reason that those guys are killing and taking their people's stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been to, I've never went to a country where, you know, that's basically the same. New Zealand's pretty good. New Zealand's pretty good. Fiji's great. Like the general government doesn't particularly fuck with you, but huge amounts of like tribal corruption inside.
What about Singapore?
Singapore and Malaysia. There were some really great things about it. There were some really terrible things about it. Same with like the United Arab Emirates. There were some really great things about the UAE. There's some really horrible treatment of women. Like, Jesus Christ, guys, you guys get over it. Holy crap. You know, like there's certain parts of the world where it's just, I mean, you know, Russia, for as authoritarian as they make their government out to be, inside of Russia, you don't really notice it. Not at all. People don't speak out about the government. Same way people don't speak out about the government here. They'll kill you.
Yeah, there is a thing with not speaking out in the public domain, I guess. And
well,
what you
even
do at your house
like,
is different.
You know, there's a, and I'll say this from like my personal experience inside of Russia and Ukraine. There's like this tongue-in-cheek, like belief in the government. So like if you ask somebody, you know, whether the government's telling the truth on whatever, they will tell you 100%, yes, I believe everything the government says. Exactly like that. Sometimes in a kind of cold, disturbing way. You know that there is absolutely, they don't believe it at all. They know it's just as corrupt as they are. It's you for asking the stupid question, right? Of course they're corrupt. All governments are corrupt. What are you new? Right? But there was this very like tongue-in-cheek, you know, you would read government propaganda. Everybody around you realizes that it's government propaganda. You know, everybody but the people that are pushing the propaganda, right? Everybody knows CNN and Fox News are lying to you, except for CNN and Fox News.
Yeah, of course. That's at some point it becomes part of your life. Like this is like the lying part.
Oh my goodness! The headline for Bernie Sanders was Bernie Sanders 2020. Who is Bernie Sanders? You don't know? CNN?
Really?
Just hearing about him, are you? Well, Blitzer, you don't know who Bernie Sanders is? Define democratic socialism. What? You haven't had 4 years of good explanation? Oh no, just them looking, just as he runs for the second time, them looking around completely confused, like they didn't know this was coming, right? Fucking Kamala Harris, right? You know, says that she might be running. What Elizabeth Warren says she might be doing exploratory, looking into fucking running for president, and she is on 24/7.
Oh yes.
Not just the best hope for America, but possibly the best hope for the universe.
Yeah, she's nauseating.
Oh my God. But I mean, total 24-hour coverage, and not just CNN, right? Just because it's negative coverage does not mean that it's not constant coverage. Fox News was all over it. And people assume that they're like different. They care about ratings. They care about you selling Viagra. If you're watching Fox News, they tell you the negative shit they want that you want to hear. If you're on CNN, they tell you the positive stuff that you want to hear. It's the same story, right? With the same benefit. Their benefit is to get Elizabeth Warren's name as many times as possible online, right? On social media, on the internet, on Twitter, positive or negative. If you hate it, you will repost it and reshare it. This is the bullshit that we have to deal with. Yeah, if you love it, then you do the same thing. They don't care.
They push that package. Well, they're really behind the scenes looking at it too. It's like, all right, we're going to push Elizabeth Warren and we're going to see if anybody gives a shit. And so they look at the numbers and they get, you know, it's like, oh man, we got like 1,000 dislikes and 10 thumbs up. You know, it's like, yeah, she's fucked. You know. So they got behind the scenes, they got that data. It's like nobody gives a shit about Elizabeth Warren. Okay, you know, put that on your piece of paper. You know, okay, go on to the next guy. You know? Okay, now it's Kamala. Oh, here comes Kamala Harris. Okay, let's run a bunch of shit about her. Let's try a couple stories. You know, throw her out there in a package, couple of days, and see if anybody gives a shit. You know.
My favorite was the amount of hardcore Republicans that when Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker both fucking announced it, like went on there and were like, you guys should have ran Bernie Sanders. Like when your opponents are looking at you and being like, okay, like even I know I'm not even part of this and I know that you're bullshitting us.
Oh man. Well, yeah, she's got too many issues, and not that lying is almost a badge of honor for politicians. Let's be honest. You know, catching her in that whole Hiawatha, I'm an Indian act.
Yeah, that was.
It is. You know, that's normally for anybody between me and you, we go. You know, if we lied at that level, it'd be like, oh fuck you, right?
Well, and it's
for a politician, it's like, well. Can we accept her lying like that? Yeah, she got a whole career, and
it wasn't like a small lie, you know. And then it was it wasn't like a small lie like that. You would my daddy always told me that I was a little Indian princess. Fair enough, right? But then you went and got like college credits and like filled out paperwork so that you got all of the benefits of being Native as well. Right, that was pushing the line, and then you know, it's one of those like, okay, you even if your family history isn't the way that you thought it was, right? Like, there's been plenty of times where it's been unpopular to be one group or another, and you just fucking go along with it, right? You guys black? No, we're Indian. Okay, carry on. Right, that's right. That's how stories get made into your story, and all of a sudden, well, we're all Navajo. Why? Because the fucking the slave fucking hunters were looking for us, and we said we were Navajo, right? And you stick to that story. Yeah. You fucking stick to that story, right? So I mean, those things happen. But then she took all of these benefits from Native peoples, and then once you're in power, never spoke up for Native rights, not one single time, not once. Like there was one.
I'm not buying it, man. I'm really not.
I wonder
about their whole family and all of it. It's just like, what the hell are you people up to? You know?
Oh, I'd love Trump to get a DNA test, because nobody's DNA is the story they think it is, right? Like there's always there's always a little bit extra in there. I'd love to get Trump's get their DNA done.
Well, he's the Lion of the House of Windsor and all that. You know, of course they all are.
Speaking of the Lion of the House of Windsor, so the royal family packed up and left England before Brexit.
What?
Really? Did they?
Yeah, they packed up all of their wealth, all of their toys, and left to an undisclosed location outside of England before Brexit, because they're worried that there'll be riots with people not being able to get food or medication. The medication imports will be a problem. So yeah, they all picked up and left. Way to stand with the people, and not just like packed up all their shit and left. Like took all the fucking the jewels, the money, right? Loaded up on trucks and took off.
Way to make your own people believe that instead of being the all-powerful British Empire, they now no longer can survive without the European Union.
These are the guys that are always like dressed up in their full military gear. You know, they'll defend their country to the end.
Yeah, like you fought against the entire European Union in World War II.
Yeah, and now they're well, not so much all the Windsors.
No, well, because they're not Windsors, they're Saxe, Coburg, Gothas, and they're Germans.
Watch out!
These stupid Brits haven't figured out yet. Well, maybe they're finding out now that they don't give a shit about you. Big surprise.
you get taken off of the internet for mentioning their real name.
Oh my God! Well, I'm sorry.
It was like a big deal. He's not in a.
I shouldn't have done it.
He's an actor.
I'm just pretending to be somebody that's reporting on Anonymous Fights Back. I'm a phony. A fraud.
A fraud. Oh, that's just like, I thought that that hasn't been covered by the news. They had posted some wedding photos and all of that stuff, and I was like, what, you guys missed that huge story where the royal family picked up all their shit and left because it might be getting a little shaky on the mainland.
Well, they didn't change their name to Windsor till not all that long ago. I'm just surprised they got away with this whole swindle. It's really outrageous.
Well, and like a well-known swindle, like we know that you're not the House of Windsor at all, right? That's not true. And we've got like clear family histories. The German royal family. Like, come on, guys! Like,
just quit pretending you're not all Nazis and you're trying to take over the world, please, because that's exactly what you're doing. Well, you don't give a rat's ass about anybody. Anywhere you people travel, you don't give a shit about anybody except yourself.
Well, yeah, the English people start having a problem and you just pack up your shit and take off. I don't know, like you've got, when you were packing up your bank vaults full of gold and money and all of that, you didn't think, hey, I'll just get as much medications, the ones that we know that we're going to need, right? Start shipping them in now before it breaks. I got the money.
And at what point do people understand that it doesn't really matter for these corporations what kind of government there is? They will still sell their fucking medicines. It doesn't matter to them. They want to make money. They will still sell it to the British. They don't care.
You'll be surprised the things that make it through. But there'll be a new tax, of course.
Like but it's not like Chinese products come from Germany. I mean, they're still being shipped by an airplane to the UK. I mean.
Well, I think Germany's fucking laughing their asses off at this point, to be honest.
Well, they've gotten everything. Yeah. Well, they instead of doing it with Hitler and tanks like World War II, we'll do it this
Deutsche
other
Bank.
way. Yeah, Deutsche Bank is just going to take over. We'll convince all you lemmings in Europe that you need a European Union to abuse you because you're not already being abused enough already, and they go for it.
Well, that's the thing.
And now there's a problem. Well, gee, you didn't see that one coming? I mean, come on, man.
It's the same old story. Look, the giant international banking cartels do not have your best interest in mind. In fact, they're the only industry other than drug cartels that are proud of being called a cartel.
Yeah, they're above the law, diplomatic immunity. They don't pay taxes. You know, it's all a big joke. You follow the rules,
and that you could make sure that medicine gets through. You know, even from the European standard. Look, we're not going to play a bunch of games, right? We're not going to. I mean, they might. They're not above suffer because you can't get your shit together, right? And don't like immigrants, England, right? We'll make sure that medicine could make sure that medicine gets through. You know, even from the European standard. Look, we're not going to. Us is all being part of Europe and our shared history. We'll make sure that medicine gets through. You can't do that.
No, and they're scaring the English people because I know a little bit about the UK, and they got more free trade agreements than the European Union has with countries. And they also, their largest trading partner is Norway. That's not even in the EU. So I don't know.
They act like they don't take the resources of Australia, New Zealand, and Canada.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, their meat sources, their sheep and cattle, those come from New Zealand and Australia. Right. Like there's huge industries that they don't, not just industries, but trading partners that they act like don't exist. You know, most of all of their precious minerals come from Australia. Australia, New Zealand, and Canada are still part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah, and it's not like Australia needs Italy to survive or whatever.
Yeah, they won't even notice the same. In fact, in a lot of cases, even more. And they pay taxes to England. They pay anything they make from England. That's not like, we're not as stupid as we look. Jesus, I couldn't be.
If anything, it would benefit the Commonwealth.
Yeah. If anything, like I agree. If anything, I think that it will help in an industry where Australia and New Zealand were already really eyeing, hey, we're part of Asia, right? Our trades with Asia, location-wise, we're with Asia, our food and culture with Asia, other than our English accent, we don't really share a lot with England. But that mindset really hasn't taken all the way over. There's still an older generation that is very strongly English, that are proud to be part of the empire. They refer to it as the empire. King and country.
Well, speaking of the Commonwealth, David Icke was not allowed to fly to Australia. Did you hear that story?
My favorite intergalactic lizard
so much for that. You can travel anywhere freely in the Commonwealth bullshit that they always do.
This is how they preface that. Like, the headline read conspiracy theorist and Holocaust denier, I think is what they called David Icke. In that, in their little thing, like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I love the interdimensional lizard person story, but I don't see him as being a threat or a Holocaust denier. That was weird.
No, not at all. Not at all. He actually always talks about depopulation agenda and that stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's the agenda that he talks about that is their fear. And weirdly enough, to throw this in there, I don't want to go, but the real part of that story with Agenda 21. The real story in that is that Australia and New Zealand are the go-to places for the rich and powerful while they're depopulating the rest of the planet. So because of its location, because of it not being on any nuclear strike list or all of that, so when the rest of the world goes up, that is where the rich and powerful plan on hanging out until this all blows over, just so you know. And this isn't like out of nowhere conspiracy theorists. This is land deals and, you know what I mean, pretty open discussion.
I gotcha. I don't doubt that there are some people in power, these elite, that actually want to depopulate, and I don't doubt that at all. So.
They talk about it. Our buddy Kissinger.
Yeah.
He's always talking about, and anybody that comes at me and says that they want to kill a third of the fucking population, can we just kill them? Because I reckon they're probably the problem.
Yeah.
I got a sneaking suspicion if you rounded up all the people that wanted to depopulate the planet by force and murdered them, that problem would take care of itself.
Did we lose somebody?
I said that I might kill people trying to...
Oh, damn it.
I said naughty words about people trying to murder us through nuclear apocalypse. I am never telling anybody to be violent, right? That's not the case. I'm telling you to wake up to the fact that these people have plans to murder you.
Yeah, they do. And maybe it's not like David Icke says that it's everyone, that they're all, but there are certainly a few who are actually very interested.
There's been some crazy shit that have been discovered in the world. My plan, right? Okay, let's just turn the air conditioning on like super high in the White House. And if certain senators and politicians start like curling up in the corners, we know those are the intergalactic lizard people, right?
Oh yeah.
You'll flush them out, man. That's a great technique there.
Yeah. I'll get to the bottom of this. Our buddy Jesse Ventura like had a real conversation with David Icke, and it is one of the best interviews that you'll ever. It was Jesse Ventura, Alex Jones, and David Icke, oddly enough. If you didn't think that shit was going to get crazy, and I'll tell you, David Icke was the craziest one out of those three. Enough that both fucking Alex Jones and Jesse Ventura like gave him like the eyebrow. Like, just tell me one of the fucking intergalactic lizard people, and I'll go find them. I'll go talk to them. That's Jesse Ventura's thing, right? He's just tell me one of them, and I will go and find them right now. I'll walk over to their office. I'll go right now. And they couldn't he couldn't like pin one down because they are shapeshifters.
I still have the feeling that maybe it is kind of like a disinfo thing, and that he just adds it to it. But on the other hand, it is very interesting to look at the whole power centers switching from different areas in the world, and I think they talk about the royal families and stuff and certain powers and
people that seem to be heartless reptilians. I don't think that it's like when you think of somebody what kind of person would undermine the well-being of the planet for a little bit of profit. We can name the industry that's going on, but like, why spend the time? What kind of person would do that? You would think you have to have a reptilian heart. Right, you'd have to be something that isn't human. That's inhuman, right?
Psychopath.
I mean, psychopath doesn't seem like it's enough. It's almost natural for humans to be like in ancient times we would go with demons, right? There's demons involved, right? There's true evil involved here. There's some sort of devil involved. There's some sort of hex involved. We've always tried to put the intergalactic lizard people, 1%, right? Whatever word you want to know, the elite. Right? These are all names that we give to an evil that we can barely fathom as a normal human.
Yeah, very true.
Whether you like brown people or not, right? You don't want to see people locked up in cages or executed, used as slaves. That's not human. Right? I don't want you to eat at my table. Right? That's a thought. Right? I don't want you boning my daughter, right? Because you're black. I don't like black people. I think you don't like me boning your daughter. But right?
Then there is the question: do they
want you rounded up and executed in the streets, held in concentration camps? Right? That's an evil that even people that have skewed ideas, right, can't fathom. You have to be something else. There has to be something else involved.
Yeah, but then you have to ask the question: do they themselves believe that they are humans like the rest of us, or do they believe that they are better than us because they have like royal blood or whatever?
Yeah, I do think that the power elite do believe it more than conspiracy theories and all of that. The people that are special believe that they are special. They've got the divinity of God, the royal bloodline, the Rosicrucians, right? The bloodline of Christ, blah 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 blah. Whether you're the Egyptians or we're all put there by God, the Mesopotamians, everybody claims that the reason that they're sitting in a golden chair is because they're special.
And listen to the excuse though. What's the reason? Because they're from a certain bloodline. Whoop-de-doo, that's
you fucked your cousin more than anybody else. Good on you.
You kept it all in the family. How'd that work out?
We are super proud of you, right? But that's their excuse. The reason they're rich and powerful, the reason that they have, items and relics from all over the world stolen, right? The reason they can enslave people is because they're put there by God, right? They're special. Even when we talk about them, right? They're the elite, right? Not the greedy. You're not elite. You're greedy.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
But we talk about them as if they're special. They're the 1% and not the murderers. right? And they like to think of themselves that way. They talk about themselves this way. This is an elite school. What does that mean? We fucked over the most people.
Yeah. So, and then there is like this question, like there doesn't have to be like Satan for Satanists to exist. So there doesn't have to be. They don't have to be actual reptilians to believe that they are reptilians. Like
I think like the training, you know, you're thought of, you know, from the time you're groomed as a little child, you're told that you are better than everybody else for whatever reason, right? That's why you go to the elite schools. You're elite.
Yeah, the whole blue blood concept.
Yeah, where you're a normal person. Shit, there's a person starving to death right now that is smarter, stronger, faster, right, than you'll ever be.
Yeah.
You know, look, George Bush is the elite. He went to elite schools. He went to elite country clubs. They wore elite clothes and have elite fucking, you know, yachts, right? There ain't nothing elite about him. There ain't nothing elite about the family.
Hey, but if they can get it on the media and tell you that shit and you believe it, which a lot of these lemmings do over here, you win. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. It's just like, nobody thinks for themselves, like, why do you love these people? Why do you love these pieces of shit that do what they do?
Yeah, like
they don't really have a good answer. It's like, well, you're talking about H.W. Bush. That's right. Yeah, New World Order. Does that register in your brain anywhere? Like, why would you give a shit about that guy?
Yeah, and it's not just like, why would you give a shit about him? It's all like, look, do you not see the person that you're talking about? You know, like their history, the wars, the entire the CIA, right? Like the whole thing, and yet you're buying into that crap after everything that you know. That's like obvious to you. In the same moment, you'll celebrate Martin Luther King and JFK, and never mention the fact that the CIA had them killed. And look, whether you want to argue that CIA had JFK killed, you know, whatever. They wanted to, no doubt. Right? Like that's the question. Whether you had the opportunity or the whatever, you may or may not have. But if you could have, you would have. And that's what I see as being the problem. Right? And the Bushes are a perfect example about that. There is nothing elite about you. You're horrible people from a horrible family. And the list goes on. Right?
You're a criminal crime family doing what criminals do. That's it. Stealing money, making deals, you know, they're illegal, but hey, you're the Bushes, you know, it's just, it's what they do. It's what banking families do. It's what all these rich fucks do.
And it's like, it is like a sheep thing, because, you know, we even like ignore the Prescotts, you know, as a president that's so well known, as a name that's so well known. It's amazing how like forgotten to open history the Prescotts are. Right, we mentioned the you know, all sorts of banking cartels and horrible people, right? Yeah, the Rothschilds, but you really can't mention the Rothschilds and the Prescotts without each other.
No, you can't. No. And they were still delivering like oil to Hitler when there were like embargoes already, and the U.S. was already at war with Hitler, and it was still delivering oil to him through South America. So
yeah, look, I mean, Germany has no oil. It's a little bit in the north. I think there's a little bit in the North Sea, right? So I mean, every tank, every plane, every bomber, right? Every V1 and V2 rocket, right? You know, the amount of American soldiers and European soldiers and Russian soldiers and Englishmen that were killed by machines fueled with American fuel.
Of course, and the Luftwaffe even had patented fuel. Was patented by U.S. Standard Oil, so this is patented oil. It was like only delivered by U.S. Standard Oil, and it's very shocking.
Yeah, insane. But you don't. It's not that you can't like. We'll celebrate. You know, they'll celebrate a family like the Bushes, and not mention that. Like not mention the history. Fuck, my granddaddy was a Nazi. You'd hear about it. Right, and that's just not the case, right? So that's it, the crazy part is that the power elite, the families that were involved with it, they should be taken to task for those things, right? You don't get to make billions of dollars off of supporting the Nazi party, right? We want that money back. We get into that like, oh, you're.
They got caught doing it. Even at the time, they got caught doing all that, and nothing happened.
Yeah,
it's the same shit.
You know, we can take Maduro's money in a heartbeat, blink of an eye, if he doesn't do something that we like. The entire country knows that the war in Iraq was fake, false, and the people that set it up are the heads of companies. Why should Halliburton get any profit off of the war in Iraq? All of that profit belongs to the Iraqi people. Every little last dime of it. Take that money.
Yeah, it's not like you're paying anything from the U.S. oil profit to the Iraqis. I mean, that's not how it works. So.
But they're the elite, right? They make decisions to send you and I to war for profit because we allow them to be called things like the elite. And like I said, not the greedy. Would you have the same effect if the guy, you know, if the lobbyist for the greedy came in and talked to you? Would you cry so much if the greedy aren't going to have a yacht at the end of the day?
Yeah, but isn't it also part of their grooming of these elite children? If they're like growing up, isn't like the only way they are able to do this, like psychologically, to distance themselves from the normal people?
Maybe, but the only reason it works is because we've been groomed to allow it. The only reason you say King and Queen of England is because we've agreed that they're more than just people.
Yeah.
Right? We refer to them in the titles that they've been given, right? This person can make these rules about you not because they have any power. George Bush ain't going to come to my house and make me do shit. Right? We allow them to do it. We support them. When they said, let's go to war in Iraq, we marched along. The same way that, you know, the corporate media marches along to the war that they'd like to start in Venezuela. Democrat, Republican, right, left, up, down, CNN, Fox News, doesn't matter. They all have a hard-on for Venezuela, and we allow it. We don't take them to task for anything, or we just don't say no, right? Look, weed is a good example of that, right? Even the cops don't want to do it anymore. Don't pull this "that's the law" bullshit. Don't do it anymore. Most of the truly evil laws that we have are still on the books. We just don't follow them.
Yeah.
But we pull out, you know, we'll go to the, well, I understand that, you know, the millions of people, 1 million people in prison for nonviolent marijuana crimes is wrong. Well, then quit putting them in prison.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. I mean, yeah.
It's typical, though, because you never really see a break in any institution. You know, normally government, I mean, it's like they really have to hit rock bottom before something changes. All the institutions, the police, judiciary, all that'll stay intact until the bitter end. They usually never break ranks, you know.
Oh no, you look at things like the civil rights movement. You know what I mean? Like, you knew it was wrong way after the fact. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're the last, but to the very, very end, you will oppress your brother man knowing it's wrong, knowing that the laws are changing, knowing this game is over. But those are the laws. No black people on the water fountains. Sorry, man, I got to shoot you in the face. It's the law.
Someone in the comments says all of the royalty that has existed in Europe for 1,000+ years are related by blood somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah. They I mean, look, Richard the Lionhearted. Right, Richard the Lionhearted didn't even like England, and he's one of their favorite kings. Refused to speak English. Went to England one time and said, "Fuck this! I'm going back to the coast of France."
Yeah, he's famous for the Normandy Wars. Yeah.
But definitely, you know what I mean, and that you know, that's the royal family. I think everybody except for the Belgian royal family, which is like the such an interesting part where you just woke up one day and thought, you know what, we need a king.
Yeah, but like the Habsburgs ruled like most of Europe for a long time, and at some point there were people like standing up against them, and there were like other families taking power, and you have this. Saxe-Coburg, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You have a family.
I think there's, I mean,
that's the history of the wars in Europe. Is the history of these families warring with each other. That's really all it is. The people get dragged into it, depending on what countries where these people live and where they control. But
Which, I mean, we make it seem like Europe's been this, like, bastion of stability. These, you know, what we're talking about here, that didn't end until really the end of World War II, you know, some of it at the end of World War I, but in the, you know, relatively recently, less than 100 years. You know, where it was a constant, you know, land battle and war in Europe for these, you know, you can't think of a single war in the relatively ancient European world, right, that was right in the end. All the land grabs, all the soldiers that went to die for this king or that king, right, all of the stories that we have about their valiant battles across were all for nothing. For people that did not exist and were not put there by God.
Yeah, and now you have all these people pointing towards like the Rothschild, who were like pretty much like the personal bankers or the personal money keepers of these royalty. And they gained a lot of power because of it. They were like the financial helpers of the kings and the princes. So.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't. You know, you can say a lot of things about them, but when it comes to manipulating the economic systems of the world, Rothschilds were brilliant. Brilliant.
Well, look who runs France, Macron. I mean, he's one of them. He's their puppet. They're still there. Nothing's changed.
He actually worked at the Rothschild Bank. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you get where you need to be.
Well, so.
How old is the guy? I think there's only 2 or 3 pictures of him, but Jesus, he was like a million years old then.
Oh, Jacob.
Yeah. Holy, how old is he?
1,000.
Yeah, he is like I'm like the pic. You know, that picture was from the '90s somewhere. That photographer man, like that. I think he was. I forget who he was working for. BBC, maybe. I forget who he was working for. But I came up and asked him some questions. Caught him getting into a limo, and like what, Mr. Burns is modeled after him as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks very similar. I think Luke at We Are Change got into it with him and had a short back and forth with him.
Oh,
yeah,
I love that.
Luke confronted him, yeah, and he was actually replying about a few things, but he was actually laughing about the whole thing. I think Luke said something like, "We're not going to accept your depopulation, this and this." And he was kind of having like an evil laugh, some fear on his face for a few seconds, but. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he was. He's like, yeah, you're going to start bombing people right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure you are, buddy. You know, it's when you
it.
say, like, you know, your depopulation isn't going to work. Man, you killed what, 6 million people this year alone? Fuck yeah, it's working just fine. I'll have you rats fighting each other for the last stripe of bread in no time.
I was searching for it. He's actually he's from 1936, so he's 82. Says on Wikipedia.
Oh, okay, that's not too
that's
bad.
that's what the papers say. If anybody's an intergalactic fucking lizard person, it's him.
Yeah.
Well, that child's blood will keep him going at least another 10, 15 years.
Oh, did I tell you about that? Did I put that on this thing? There's something weird, and this is a Silicon Valley thing where they're using the FDA fucking shut this shit down where they were using unauthorized. This is started off in Silicon Valley where they were using by the CEOs, and they were using young people's blood to infuse it with their blood to stop the aging process, and I was just like,
there has been a lot, and I want to say Russia's played around with it as well.
The royals do it.
Yeah, and to some pretty like not shocking results, but relatively good results. Something that I think the elite have known and tried for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, infusing children's blood with your blood. They drink it, they bathe in it, they this and that. But this is something that probably has been going on within the people that we're talking about for a while. In using children's blood, in using young people's, strong people's blood. To help your immune system and all sorts of other stuff. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like something that they would do. I know that there's been some research into stem cells and some other stuff that's involved. Look, you probably shouldn't be bleeding children to death for your own benefit.
There was a company, they got shut down the day of. It was called Amistad or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And they were based out of Silicon Valley, and I'm like, So you mean Mark Zuckerberg is literally getting children's blood?
Well, remember when he, we had said anybody that's offering children money to do something is probably not doing good. Another situation where that would probably fit in pretty well. I need about I don't know, 1,000 kids for what? I need their blood. I'm not going to be able to work here.
Well, the FDA said you couldn't do that. They said you can't give blood to people who don't need it.
That was their problem with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was their problem with it. So what, they went offshore?
Probably.
That's all. They'll go down to Mexico. The
Mexico,
rich.
Caymans.
They'll just fly in somewhere. They don't give a shit. China, some place is going to let them do it.
Yeah,
and that's where they're going to go.
Some place that will allow you to bleed small children.
I thought the article was a joke till I saw that they had shut down an actual business. And then I'm thinking like, then I'm thinking like, okay, well, what company allowed them to get the blood, and how are they getting the donors? And there was like a whole bunch of like fucking like weird questions that you just don't want to know the answers to, you know?
Well, that you should have asked like right away. You know what I mean? Like you don't want the answer to them, but that anybody along this line should have asked.
Yeah, really, because you know you're not going to get the answer that she says. You know it's not for good purposes.
Did you get it from a
You
blood
just
bank?
know that.
Did you get it from some guy in the alley? Did you get
Hey, look, man, I got a truckload full of B positive here. I got to get rid of. I don't ask questions where it comes from.
This guy shows up
with a truckload of children's blood.
Just like the ice cream man.
Yeah, nothing good is coming from this. It's the people-sized cages thing, right? Like, anytime that they bring in that you need 1,000 people-sized cages, you should be asking a lot of questions.
Well, Pelosi and all the big reps over there are going to have to get on top of this because
she was looking.
That's just outrageous how they can't do whatever they want to do.
She was looking pretty good over the thing, over the that time for where she decided to run for president and all of that. You've been transfusing, huh? You've been fusion. That's a street name for it. No, I probably did. They opened it up offshore, so you and I can't get to it. Right? You don't get it. You don't get any of that. You don't get any of that. Well, it's probably the blood of the kids of the Four Hearts that we gave fucking Cheney. Like, I mean, there was a whole kid, there was a whole person attached to the heart before they got a hold of it. Oh, that looks like a good one. Send him to Cheney. How long? He's only got like a 2-year lifespan on each heart. You got to be thinking some evil shit to go through a child's heart every 2 years.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? This is like
he's got some big genetic problems. Something going on there to destroy him that fast.
Pure evil? I mean, it's like rotting you from the inside out.
Yeah, maybe he's possessed or whatever. I wouldn't doubt it. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it above. Like again, the fix is the same. Yeah. Yeah, when you catch my grandparents as witches and possessed, you normally burn them at the stake, if I'm not mistaken. My best like way to get rid of them is just shoot them into the sun. It makes a statement.
Like Superman 3, where they threw or was it 2, when they got those people from Krypton.
Krypton.
Yeah, Krypton.
Yeah. And toss their asses into the sun?
Yeah. Or was that the nuclear bombs? I think he threw the people into the sun.
No, he couldn't have thrown the people into the sun, because that would have just made them stronger. You don't throw Superman into the sun. That's the mistake that so many bad guys have made. That like supercharges his ass. So yeah, you want to throw pure evil into the sun like that. I don't think the Kryptonians were fucking evil. They'd just been part of a huge genocide. Or the last people on their planet. Something like that. I'm gonna have to go watch that Superman movie again.
On the ice planet.
Yeah, they've been playing it on Pluto for a while. You know, the free movie /TV service.
I was going to make so many science jokes. I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it go.
I was actually watching it not too long ago.
I was watching the Superman movies on Pluto, which is also no longer a planet, much like Krypton. Yeah. Oh, and Alderaan. This is getting super geeky in here. You want to go?
I was gonna say, we can go into the car hacking thing. That's something I've been focusing on. I didn't realize how easy it's getting, but apparently, I'm following this guy. Oh God, what happened to my fucking feed?
You said the words car hacking and following this guy, and they shut us down.
Yeah, no. So this guy is they're basically fucking the CAN bus. That's how they're getting into it. But basically with no modifications and just a few lines of code, by tapping into the CAN bus into a car, you can do some pretty powerful things in trying to hack a car. Which would include opening up the doors, making it fucking turn left or right if it has an autopilot mode, I remember one of my roommates, he was a black hat, and he said the same technology is in farms and airplanes, and he said, yeah, that could be hacked via CAN bus too. And I said, an airplane? And he said, yeah, I mean, if you got the right equipment. And he said, yeah, you could hack a plane. And I was like...
Yeah, the only thing that keeps those planes from being hacked on like a regular basis is the distances, right? The heights. 20,000 feet, it is hard to hack.
Oh, but he said, he said it could be done, but you would have to get a satellite dish that would be pointed at it, and you would have to move it as you were injecting the code.
9/11 was an inside job. 9/11 was an inside job.
Well, I think that wasn't done really with a hack.
Then some federal agent comes to my house tomorrow.
Somebody went to jail for doing that. They admitted to advancing and decelerating a little bit, with the throttle. And then as soon as this guy admitted that, they rounded him up, man.
Yeah, I mean, the cars have been proven to be able to be hacked, a bunch of times.
Yeah.
We were talking before. Can it be updated?
Well, this guy was literally, all he did was a few modifications to get into the CAN bus, and he was using a terminal on Parrot with no modifications to the terminal. Just a few lines of it was literally a couple of expressions and commands, and he was literally opening up the car door and rolling down the window.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. I haven't personally, seen anybody hack them live, but yeah, I wouldn't deny it. I know it can be done. You know what I mean? It's just the tools to do it. Normally, the tools that get into those things aren't the ones that you'd expect.
It was really low tech. I mean, the guy obviously knew the correct code to put in to do it, which takes some reverse engineering. But yeah, really wasn't a complicated hack. Like any idiot could have done it.
Well, I mean, look at they really tried to push the keyless entries and the biometric anti-theft devices and all of that shit.
Think about this. Could you think about warfare on another level where we get a foreign invasion and they literally hacked all the cars and are making them drive into cars and houses and people?
I doubt it.
Don't put that out of the thing, because my friend who worked for, he was the main engineer for John Deere. He said that they would run across black hats that would come to them and saying that this kind of stuff is possible.
Oh, possible for sure. I mean, attacking America in general is not impossible, right? The repercussions for it are the problem. So you name a country that we've been edging, you get attacked by North Korea and they slow mellow your planes and your cars in there. Chances are we'd do that to ourselves before another country would sign its death warrant. Look, even when we're on the chain, right, when we know what we're doing wrong, right, it's a nightmare. Iraq and Afghanistan, perfect examples. That's when there's not even a reason to go to war. Imagine us off the chain. That's why other countries aren't stupid like that, even though we like to build it as in we're under constant attack of a threat. And that's just, I don't see it being, yeah, could you manage to attack people with a bunch of cars? Yeah, why would you?
I don't know.
No, it's just probably a criminal organization or a small, weird country doing it because the economic benefits are too big for countries who could actually do it on a huge scale.
And to say that, chances are if America gets attacked in a terrorist attack that uses our own infrastructure, it's us.
Well, the main reason I'm bringing this up is because they did have an exploit, come to them from a black hat, and he was using he was working mainly with the automated farming equipment that they use in the mega farms in America that produce most of the food, and he was saying that it wouldn't if the seed they have these machines that throw out the seeds and they're all automated. If you tell the computer to throw out the seeds not at a certain depth, none of the crops will grow, in essence creating a famine.
I know that there is code in place for several of it's only 3 of them, of the large corporate farming, meat farming, poultry specifically, that's already there, that if utilized would shut down their infrastructure, their ability to do just about anything. That includes like the sales, the heating, the getting rid of waste, the works. Will they ever go through with it? Pfft, I have no idea.
The opening doors part of cars is not a very big deal, but I think actually controlling cars is. I don't know. I don't have any knowledge about that, but opening doors
could be interesting.
Well, it can only be done. The driving of cars can only be done in cars that have the ability to do that. So that would be in the self-parking cars and the cruise and the cars that can do the driving automatic. So we're talking the more higher end cars.
And look, but that doesn't mean just the doors thing. And I'll throw this out there. Way back in the day. He's dead now. Dude was like 60, 70 when I met him. I met one of the hitmen that worked for Whitey Bulger. And their game was they would cruise down the street at 60, 70 miles an hour on the highway, and he was a big dude even in his old age. You could tell he had been through some stuff, right? Yeah. And his job was to sit next to them, and when they would get going on the highway, he would bump them out of the car, right? And you'd hit the highway going 70 miles an hour, and that was that, right? So I could see it being used something like that, at the wrong time, your door opening would suck.
Or your car mysteriously driving on its own into a weird place.
Or you're moving at 80 miles an hour, you're moving at 70, 80 miles an hour, and your hood flips up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I've had that happen.
I lost a hood that way. It not only flipped up, it went flying and then soared a little bit through the air.
Yeah, that happened to me on a old Toyota.
Yeah, you were there. Oh my God, that was crazy.
The concept of opening a parked car is not so difficult. Like, that you have like a little device and it opens your door, right? And you can like click on it and it opens. But it sends like a unique identifier. You can actually reverse engineer that, and you can brute force it. It doesn't have a brute force connection, so it will try a billion codes at once. Right? It will try everything at once, and it will actually open your door for a specific type.
Even on the high-end sports cars, right? They're supposed to have those crazy keys, and like you can't steal them. Yeah, like you can get you can get the keys for it if you want them.
Well, they already got some of this with the those LoJack systems, isn't it? On like OnStar, that can kind of pull you off to the side and decrease the throttle.
They can shut down your engine. So there's been several times where there's been like highest speed pursuits or somebody that they want to stop or that they want to talk to, and they'll shut down their engine. I think it was the Ford's Lincoln that had OnStar that had that.
OnStar's usually only on American
GM. Yeah. So when they were doing the little push OnStar button, the police could turn off your car.
Pretty scary.
Yeah, the OnStar is not as popular as it used to be.
Well, the first time that you got the idea that they were going to shut off your car, I'm sure people quit. You know, OnStar was cool when it was asking me for directions. Now that it's working with the fucking cops, I don't want it anymore.
Well, it wasn't that. It was mostly that they were charging. It was like $80 a month, and that's like on top of like your car note and the insurance. It's like, do I really want that service and that I'm only going to use like once or twice a year, you know, to unlock my door?
Yeah, and I can do it through my phone now.
Yeah.
Or just hire my local hacker to do it.
Or call a AAA guy.
Yeah, he's way cheaper.
Yeah, it doesn't actually help your security at all. Well, I mean, like actually controlling a car seems like very difficult from a remote, but.
Well, not.
I mean,
not
also,
now. They can be controlled via cellular networks. It's not easy doing it that way, but it's also not difficult. You know.
You do need like a camera or something. Then you need access to the camera of the car. Then because like how will you control something? Like it has to be nice. Like with a game, right? You can actually steer it, like Grand Theft Auto.
Well, I imagine that you'd have to get into several different systems within a car, but you know, I'm not the expert in hacking cars.
No, and I don't. All of those. It's not that whether it can or can't be hacked. It's whether I've got the time to fucking play with it.
I imagine there's almost zero security in any of this shit.
You know what? When you can VM the cars, I will tell you, like, we'll know exactly how to hack
Hey, you guys want to drive a Lambo today?
Yeah. Vroom, vroom. Well, it's self-driving. I don't have to drive it. It actually came to the door, picked me up. Did you steal it? No, the Lambo stole me.
But yeah,
I was minding my own business, walking on the street. It pulled up, doors opened, it said to get in. What was I going to do?
But if you want to go buy some CAN bus, let me do some free advertising. You can buy some CAN bus PCB boards at www.mymintwynet.com, and you can go get some do-it-yourself kits. Wink, wink.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah, maybe you need like an input port, and you should actually put in your own OS into a car that is compatible with the car, and then you have like full control. Or you can
just reflash the EEPROM and just put your own operating system there.
Well, yeah, I imagine that I would have my own operating system in my car, or at least the cracked version. You know, like I don't know. It just seems it's gonna put a whole. I love it, but it will put a whole like new spin on your connection with you and your car. I want Kit from Knight Rider, to be honest.
Kit?
We can drive. Yeah, Kit from Knight Rider. Kit was the name of the car.
Yeah. No. Speaking of David Hasselhoff,
the guy's name was Michael Knight, which is why it's
No.
Rider.
He's supposed to be in
Michael Knight.
Punk Fury 2 whenever that fucking shit comes out.
Yeah, and then we can have cool. I want the actual voice too, and then me and.
Well, that was some pretty advanced AI there. I mean, I still don't think we're quite that level.
It's coming though.
Yeah,
me and my pickup are gonna have a blast.
Be talking to you.
Talking about copyright. Didn't Tesla or something steal it then actually from the copyrighted movie idea from Knight Rider?
Maybe like Tesla's got an interesting thing with its copyright and all of its patents is that they give them all away. So if you want to take them, download them, and build your own Tesla, you can sell it, do whatever. All of his recent stuff. So maybe there's some space stuff that I don't know about, or what it is for the flamethrowers and all of that. But his patents are free to use.
Huh? No kidding.
Just, I mean, we don't really have the ability to kick out. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd have an electric pickup right now.
Yeah, I read about it, that other car companies are also using his patents now.
Well, yeah, I mean, he gave them away for free. So, like, you can download them, use them. He won't sue you for having a for driving a knockoff Tesla. But I think he's one of the few people that's done that. You just in the tech industry, Google, Apple, Microsoft, they don't give nothing away for free.
No.
Wait.
Like the media
Microsoft?
people, they don't do it either.
Yeah.
But no, they gave away Windows 10 for free, but at the expense of putting advertisements in your operating system.
Yeah, that's not really for free. That's actually costing. That's actually costing me my personal information. That's not free at all.
It's pretty weird when you install an operating system. It says, "Do you want to enable GPS for ad tracking?" Like, what?
No.
Are you serious?
Or just like it asks you, but then the no option is always grayed out, which I thought is weird.
What's even worse is that because I told you about the Azure service, how now you can get now enable Linux through the PowerShell in Windows 10. Now I told you the next thing that's coming is a Linux-based a Microsoft or Microsoft-based Linux, and that's what they're working on right now.
I know they're trying to get away from Windows the way that it was before.
Because it's a fucking pile of shit.
Well, I gotta get a new version of Windows more than I have to get a new version of my phone. It's really, that's why we're up to like Windows 10. Enough that the numbers were starting to seem a little bit crazy.
Well, the whole point of breaking, the whole point of Linux is that you can manipulate the operating system. You can tell the operating system what you want it to do. You are the owner of the operating system, not Microsoft, where you have to literally dig through a lot of shit just to get into the kernel. So
if you can.
Yeah, so like the fact that Microsoft is getting into it is like they would probably put some barrier between you and aspects of the maybe not. I don't know. I really don't know what their software engineers are thinking.
Oh. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
what's going to happen is you think it's really going to go the good way, where like Microsoft is a good guy, so they're just like not. Open source their code. No, hell no. I mean, come on, you know where this is going. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, I don't think they've just knowing Microsoft. They've never done that before. I can't imagine them doing it now.
It's going to be
free. What does that mean?
Micro Linux or Micron. It'd be some garbage. It'll be cheesed up Linux. That's what they're going to give you.
You know why that Microsoft is getting into this is because Microsoft has gone into the gaming industry, and in the last year, Linux-based gaming has become a thing within the last year. This is an avenue that they want to get into.
What OS is the Xbox using now?
Underneath it, it's still Windows, I believe. Underneath the hood.
Huh.
I thought it was their mobile. I gotta look it up. I thought it was their mobile OS.
It could be, but I know the older Xbox was using Windows. Well, I don't know Windows. Wasn't it Windows 8.1?
I checked it out for you. It is they use Hyper-V and Windows 10 based Xbox.
Oh, so they're just using VM, right?
Yeah.
But also Windows 10 based Xbox OS. They also use.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I know they're trying to break into several other industries, and they've sold a whole bunch of them. That huge government contract where they put Windows on every single government computer was a good move, but since then, their OS has been shit.
Well, NTFS has problems, especially when you start putting, group permissions and stuff like that. Where Linux, it's pretty simple. And getting an IIS server up is much more difficult than setting up an Apache server, so I mean, Microsoft is going the way of the dinosaur, where the back end of the internet has always known that Linux is the way, because it's cheap, it's free, and it works right,
Yeah, I mean, NT was nice. I will say they did well. When they did give their back end OS a go, but it got they couldn't differentiate whether you wanted to have a back end system or you wanted to have like a user end operating system, and yeah, it just never panned out like all the other ones.
Well, I know, nobody's gonna pay, $2,000 for a
Oh yeah, it
operating
was
system.
crazy.
They're still charging that much.
Oh, I don't pay for software.
Yeah. Well, Red Hat is charging, an arm and leg for their operating system. I don't know how they broke free from the GNU to do that, but that's a thing now.
Usually it's like add-ons, or it is like additional support or whatever. That's what they was charged for. And I think that Windows is going to do the same thing. That they're going to release software that only works on their OS, but you have to pay for that. And
yeah,
it's like they only the core is free, but everything else that's created on it has to be from them.
And Word, Word's up to like $300 if you want the Word's crazy expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what they will do, and they just want to use the core to get the market share, and then when they have the market share, they will do this.
When they got Microsoft Office products, Linux has already had a solution that for years. There's LibreOffice, and if you want to use Outlook, there's Firebird.
Yeah, I like Firebird.
So it's like, why would you pay $300 and fucking dollars for a Microsoft product when you can literally get the same shit for free? I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, with Office, it was LibreOffice or OpenOffice. Yep. Both softwares work exactly the same as Office. You can literally load the Office files in it. So.
Yeah, I mean, LibreOffice it is kind of buggy if you try to put it onto like a Windows PC, but on Linux it works pretty damn well.
Yeah, for Windows you can use the OpenOffice, right? It's like pretty similar. It's
they're pretty similar, yeah.
It's like even like the symbols for it, or like the Excel or the I think in LibreOffice is called Calc, CALC, and it's like literally the same color of symbol and everything.
I told you about. Remember? Did I ever tell you about that thing I did in college, where I tried to make a scientific calculator that never worked right? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I forgot a parenthesis somewhere.
Yeah, too much
on the code.
It's pretty awesome to make these kind of things, to learn about all these things. I mean, yeah. But the big money is in mobile stuff right now, so
yeah.
Make a game or whatever, anything that works on your computer and then it works on your mobile, you make big money from it.
Well, yeah.
So.
Now they got the market because Unity Engine is into. Isn't it like a Microsoft exclusive now? Because now they got all those games that are using the Unity Engine. It's backend's using C++.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about some of the there's a huge variety in game engines, so I'm still playing with the Unreal Engine, so by the time we get to that, the Unreal Engine can run on my phone.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually like OS X engine, like Apple Unity.
Does it work on it?
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I mean, your phones are getting so powerful now. You can, the amount of stuff that you can run on them.
To say hi to Wait a Sec TM Live, he's in the chat.
Wait a sec.
He will fight anyone right now in the chat. So.
What are we fighting about?
I don't know. He said, I will fight everyone in the chat right fucking now, he says. So, if you want to fight with them, just to join in the chat on YouTube.
He's there. You know how, every once in a while, somebody will go into the club and, anybody want a piece of me? There you go.
Well, come on, guys.
Yeah, get in there.
They said it's chat on YouTube, guys. Go there.
We don't have, besides the thing that you're saying that you want to fight, we don't have, a good...
Make sure you click on the fake logout links.
See.
Does that hack still work? think it does.
Oh, it did work. I mean, XSS-based logout stuff. And yeah, it used to hijack a session, right? A Facebook session, and then
yeah,
it would actually, you would you could hijack actually Facebook.
Was I watching the Hacker Giraffe? Now this hacker, he makes me laugh. I showed John this shit where this guy was hacking. This was like last November, but I found out about it where he was hacking. His main thing is printers, but he was printing. He was hacking printers to promote PewDiePie, which I thought was hilarious.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard that name in a while. Is he still doing anything?
Yeah, he's in a battle with this guy named T.
Just T.
So I don't know what it is.
He must be a street guy. Yeah, he just goes by a letter.
Just by a single letter. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean normally it's 2 letters, so you kind of know who we're talking about. But
I'm not like big into that. Like I don't catch up. I just haven't heard anything from him in a while. But
well, you're TD, so that's even better.
I thought that at least I knew that somebody was beefing with me though.
Well, wait a sec is trademarked. You know, put some trademark next to that wait a sec thing.
Hold up.
I mean, he's gone to the trouble of trademarking
of TM in it. Yeah. That's kind of cool. I mean, is there T-shirts?
Is that a real trademark, or is that just TM next to something to make?
In case somebody wants to steal it.
Yeah.
What else do I have on my agenda?
Yeah, we got through. I think we got through most of it. Let me look in the. I think we only have like 5 minutes.
Oh,
10 minutes.
Oh, no, we got a little longer than that. Oh, there's been 2 major cases of shit that's going around with ISIS. One in the U.S., one in the U.K. So a daughter of a diplomat left. It was disputed whether she was a U.S. citizen. She probably was. But she left the United States to join ISIS and married 3 different men while she was with ISIS, and then said it was a mistake, and then was denied entry into the United States. Big whoop. And then another one was a UK citizen, was stripped of her UK citizenship because she joined ISIS. And you know what? Like, I don't really feel sorry for you, because you found out that it was a mistake after you joined a terrorist group and you wanted to go home saying, I'm done. These are...
Yeah, but you also joined a terrorist group that lost, is the big concern there. So, yeah, I can't...
Well, but wait a minute. I mean, they joined a terrorist group that both governments support with their own militaries. So, I mean, who's the bad guy?
You should get it. You should get an in. I'm not sure, right? Like...
Well, you know what Trump wants to do is he wants to allow them in, only to bring them in straight into custody and bring them to court to face justice.
Yeah, for terrorism.
For terrorism.
For support of terrorism.
But I think the safer thing is you know with the. I hate to agree with the Department of Homeland Security, but deny entry into the United States would be the safer issue.
I don't think it's a safety thing. Like, I'm not going to get, I have no fear that she's going to kill all Americans.
She literally posted to kill all Americans several times.
Yeah, I don't see that as being.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's 350 million of us, and we've pretty much laid waste to most of the Middle East. We'll be fine. Maybe you've been hanging out in. Yeah, like it's just not reality. So a fear thing, not really. Did you fuck up? Yup.
Well, I don't.
So you're not going to get to come back because you ran off and joined ISIS.
Well, that happened to people who joined and helped at the not the United States. The United States is not prosecuting people, American citizens that helped out the Kurdish fight ISIS in Syria. But in other countries, they are denying entry because they view the Kurds as a terrorist or the white PP or I forget which one. But anyway, they
PPK.
Some one of them, yeah. They view them as a terrorist organization.
Yeah, which they are. I mean this is it was a high profile thing at the time. You knew that you were running off to join ISIS. Right?
Oh no! These were Kurdish, a Western world fighting for the Kurds.
So I mean, you're saying that these are Kurdish-backed troops that they're bringing, they're Kurdish troops that are U.S.-backed Kurdish troops.
Yeah, America is letting those people back into the United States, no questions asked. They're kind of looking the blind eye at that one. But if you joined ISIS, you're not coming back to the United States.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I don't like necessarily disagree with it, but I mean, when you're gonna have to go somewhere else, go to one of the countries that was pro-ISIS.
Well,
go hang out in Saudi Arabia.
Well, most of these guys that are working with ISIS, they're either going to other countries like Oman or Yemen to go fight another war, or a lot of them are migrating to East Africa, like Sudan. You know, I mean, that's what you guys chose. You guys lost. You guys, there's no country that really wants you guys in. You know?
No, and I mean the although there's the rise in Islam in Africa, although like their goals in some cases are the same, in a lot of cases just there's a cultural difference where the reason that you're upset in fighting is different than the reason that people were fighting in the Middle East, and it does cause they just go off and do their own thing. Are they ultra-violent Muslim extremists? Yes. Are they ISIS? No. They don't give a fuck about the caliphate, right? I live in Somalia. I don't give a shit if you've got part of fucking Turkey, right? So that causes some problems. They want the training and the guns, and they do have the like I said, the religious extremist part of it, but a completely different religious extremism. You can lump all terrorists together, but there's definitely some differences in the who, why, whens, and whats. It's definitely not ISIS, which is what we'd like to paint them as. You know, if you go into places, besides the Death to America mantra, there's not a lot of similarities. And a huge.
Well, both of those girls did kind of go into that, especially on their.
Well, they both went into ISIS. Like, that's separate. Like, I think you fucked up. They lost. You went and joined ISIS. You're gonna have to go and find somewhere that supports ISIS.
I think the diplomat's daughter also had a child with one of them.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, to be honest. Like, you probably shouldn't have done that.
She's like, but I was rebelling and I didn't like my parents and blah blah blah, so I joined a terrorist group and killed some people. Like, what the fuck, Nick?
Yeah,
I'm still a little confused, because it's like, is there actually a law against that? Because I mean, if we're setting them up and helping them and arming them, can you really go down the path of being pissed off at people that materially support a terrorist organization when that's exactly what you're doing? How do you differentiate it, other than saying, hey, we're the government, we do whatever the fuck we want? People can't do that. I think that's what's going on here. I mean, okay, I get it. But I mean, the truth is, it's like, we're not doing anything that you guys ought to be for us. We're doing the same shit you're doing. We're on the same side.
If you wanted to stay in Syria so bad, right? I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, so why are you getting pissed off now? Of course you don't let me come back. You think it's okay. You're doing the same thing.
I think she got pissed off because she's stuck in one of those Syrian refugee camps. So she's probably not in Syria. She's probably in Jordan.
Well, and she's not stuck in one of any refugee camp. So there are like real refugee camps out there. The one that she's stuck at, right, the English girl, is a refugee camp for terrorists, right? These are all ex-fighters that now have to leave because, well, you are ISIS. So it's not like she's hanging out with like Syrians. She's hanging out with other foreign fighters and ISIS members at the terrorist camp, which is where we have to hold them until, at least we can prosecute some of them. Some of them. Yeah, I don't know. Like on a. It's going to be a hard run. My advice to them is go to somewhere that supports your cause. You left that world. And not make you're not going to be able to make any bones about it. Look, if I leave the U.S. and they'd say, look, we've had just about of you and your anti-pipeline bullshit, you can't come back. Fair enough.
Well, I don't know why she's whining, trying to come back to America. It's like...
You're not going to have a good time, trust me.
Well, that's the deal with the passport. It's like that's like your key in and out. And they can deny you re-entry.
Yeah,
even though you're still a citizen, which is what's going on here. You are a citizen. You have a passport. You're trying to come back, and they deny you entry, and that's supposed to be.
Well, they can strip you of your citizenship,
but not if it leaves you stateless. So with all of these, they've put in the stipulation. We're not sure if they've got citizenship. Right, and I know with the woman in the English woman specifically, Sri Lanka, whichever country they said she may have been from, their embassy says, nah, they have no record of her being a citizen ever.
Which is bizarre because I think she was.
There's already some definitely rules is that you can't take somebody's citizenship and leave them stateless. Which I know that sounds like such a weird statement because. You belong to the state, I guess. You're stateless. I still live on the planet. I can walk from spot to spot. I'm not stateless.
Otherwise, otherwise what you would be is a sovereign, and they can't have that.
Yeah,
that's what you would be. It's like you're not under somebody else's control. Well, then you're a sovereign.
Yeah, and by their making. So if I'm not your citizen, I'm not under your control anymore. That causes everybody some problems. And unless you know who your slave owner is, right, nobody else will talk to you.
Right, yeah, because only the elite that you were talking about before are the sovereigns. At least that's what they say.
Oh, yeah, they can travel. And if you're having some problem traveling, right, and let's say you're part of a royal family just bomb the most important buildings in America, right, and you want to get out of the country, they will clear your airspace, flight lines, make sure you can travel through international airspace without any issues. They'll definitely hook you up.
Yeah, that was a perfect example of the two-tiered system that exists and what can be done when you are certain people. That was one of the best examples. Nobody else in the country can fly except you special people.
Yeah,
and now we know who you are.
Yeah, they'll call you up specifically and say, "I'm sure to get out of the country. Shit's about to hit the fan." When do you give yeah, it's hypocrisy, definitely. I mean, the deal is, look, why take her citizenship? If you think she's a terrorist, arrest her.
Well, that's kind of what Trump wanted to do, but I don't know.
But it's not your want. It's not your will, right? It's not your, that's where we get into this problem. What does the law say? Is that the law? That's it. It's not your will, how you feel about it, what you'd like to do. Nobody gives a fuck what you'd like to do. That's not in the Constitution what you would like to do.
That's true.
Yeah, well, see, this is the problem with being a citizen, then, is that things like that are out of your control. Since they can deny you re-entry, then you've got a problem. You're not really free to do it or what you want.
That's true.
You don't know if you can go back. Fuck, I mean, what, then you better not ever leave then.
No, it's already real small. Very small percentage of Americans have passports.
That's right, yeah.
And that's the rule. So never, if you're, never travel in America without your passport. Never travel outside of America with your American passport. I become Canadian so quick.
What's up with that even? What's up with that even? I hear so many Americans saying they can't travel out of the country or whatever, and all these things.
They really do restrict a lot of our movement in that you can't, the passport system, when you can and can't get your passport, if they don't like you, you just for some reason can never get your passport.
Yeah.
But we're the only animals that do that, right? Everything else can travel freely across the globe.
Or if you don't pay your tax, if you owe the IRS too much money, they'll take away your passport too.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes they'll take your travel privileges for child support, or I mean, just any debt or whatever they feel like putting in there.
You see, in Europe that is easier because you can actually travel across the border to another country, and you step on an airplane in there, and they usually don't have a direct connection with like a Dutch tax office. So
yeah, I like open Europe. It's a good way to do it. Like we used to travel when I was younger, when everything was still closed down, and it was a nightmare. Like it was hard to travel and congested, and there was all sorts of problems, and everybody had different rules, and it was just a headache. But you did get lots of cool like stamps on your passport. So like when you rode the train, sometimes you'd go through 3-4 countries. So for an American, having like a stamp from each country was like a badge of honor, kind of. Well, like I've got the Czechoslovakian stamp, and it doesn't exist anymore. So that was like a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it actually is. It doesn't exist anymore. No. Yeah. And it's something that literally no one can do anymore now. So it is special.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of like some of the train stations. If you actually go up and ask at the office, they can still give you a stamp. But it's been like a while.
Same
maybe
like
they don't even do that.
Something like East Germany. Like if you would travel like before like the 90s, then you could have like a East German stuff.
Like we'd go up to the border, like we'd go up to the wall for like protests and support and all of that stuff. But as an American, you couldn't travel into Eastern Europe. So certain Germans could go back and forth here and there, but as an American, you couldn't travel back and forth. And if like you were somehow managed on the other side of the fence and got caught, it was like an international thing. So they would hold you at the guard station or whatever. Every once in a while, a soldier would get drunk and end up on the other side, and like the base would have to come and get them and make a whole thing. But you couldn't just like walk over to East Germany or walk back. Yeah, it was definitely like a different but the same. Like you see the same tactics over and over and over again. No, I'm pretty sure that one moment, that moment at the Berlin Wall fucked up my life forever. Because I didn't understand any of the economics and government bullshit, and didn't understand that. I only saw like people oppressed, right? I only saw like what happens when everybody stands up together, right? Everybody that was there had all sorts of different, political ideologies and bullshit, right?
You remember how it felt? It was an accident. It was an accident made on the air. One of the guys said that some treaty or pact was no more, and people interpreted it as there was no more wall, and people started bashing in the walls.
Yeah, it really was just like
it was an accident.
It went from like nothing, there was people just kind of milling around and like talking, and some people like giving a speech. Not like I said, I was a kid, so there's like big pieces missing, I'm sure. And then I'd say by the time it started to get a little bit dusk, right? Just all hell broke loose. And there was like, people brought these big like earth mover fucking, construction trucks and bulldozers and stuff, man. There was this bulldozer, and I was a little bit away, but as like a little boy, and man, this guy hits the fucking wall full force with this bulldozer. It was the coolest thing you've ever seen.
I had a piece of that wall, and then somebody stole it from me.
There's not a lot left. So, like, man. I have a little chunk that's been in our family, you know what I mean? Since then, that I was real proud. I got off. My mom had it, like, marked with a little picture when I was a little kid. But I think, like, the last time that we were even around there was, like, the memorial standing, and that was it. Like, you couldn't tell that it ever existed.
Oh, you know where there's a piece of it? In the Ronald Reagan Museum. I saw it.
I bet you. Can we resurrect him for the next wall? Oh, I can only imagine what Reagan would think of the current Republican Party.
I don't know. He'd be like, "Well, boys, we got a problem."
What the fuck is this?
You know, who the fuck let Donald Trump be a fucking president? Really?
Guys, we got a serious question from the chat.
What is it?
Oh, damn.
The question is, why can't all Anons work together?
I guess that would have to do with you know, there's so many different you know, ideologies where people think that we're incorporated with Antifa and the left and the right, and they've got that aspect, and then you got to your aspect of how many people actually have skills. And, you know, when it comes down to coders and programmers, you know, it's not what it used to be, you know? But,
yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, what do you mean, like, work together would be one of my questions.
I don't know any group that really works together. I mean, sometimes things get done, and I mean, you know, work does because you're getting paid and so forth, but among like activist groups, I mean, I see a lot of division. It doesn't really seem to matter which one you're in. Everybody's got different ideas and they're going different directions.
Yeah, and I think like specifically with Anons,
well, I do. You know what I do see
we've went out of our way to not have leadership, to not do a lot of the things that put you into somebody telling you that this is what we need to do and when we need to do it.
Well, you know what I do see is a lot of these, you know, Anon sects that are still, you know, found, you know, staying to the core of Anonymous, but they see them. I do see them getting stuff done, but then their own little groups.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, what you had said earlier with there being so many different ideologies and paths. Anonymous isn't like, you know, I might hate Monsanto. It's not Anonymous's like, you know, statement that their job is to fuck over Monsanto, right? That's my thing. You be part of Anonymous and not give a shit about Monsanto. That's your deal. You know what I mean? And you could put that to 1,000 different things. It's not really what being, do you share the truth, right? Are you posting the truth? Are you helping the poor? You know, we can name all sorts of different things that might not even be exactly what people feel is anonymous. I don't think that it's like set in stone, even what it is to be controlled like that, right? So, I mean, if activists want to get together, the question would be, why aren't activists working together? Activists are just one little set, right? There's people that are part of Anonymous that are just straight up black hat hackers. That's fine. In my mind, they're fucking over the system, and I'm pretty cool with that.
Yeah,
right? Also, if I don't agree with them, I don't agree with them because I don't agree with them, not because it has anything to do with Anonymous.
No, I do talk with many Anons every day, and I meet many Anons who are pro gun rights, right? They always say that government can't touch our guns, and I meet many Anons who are like anti-guns, who say like it reduces violence or whatever. I just can't imagine them going through one door. But what I always say is like, you can agree to disagree, and you can agree on other stuff and work together on other stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't have to work together on that stuff. Like,
yeah, I think that's like super important. So, I mean, when you put the door, that wasn't the right like question. Do you agree or disagree with gun rights? Some Anons would, some Anons wouldn't, everything in between. If you ask, you know, another question that they do agree on, everybody fits the door, no problem. Yeah, right? If you look at, I mean, if you look at freedom of information, you're hard up to find an Anon that doesn't agree on freedom of information. And that has to do with posting and sharing stuff and getting information out there with the truth. Whether you like the truth or don't like the truth, both the gun owners, you know, the gun people that support guns and the people that don't support guns, both need to be posting the truth. And that's what would make them, you know what I mean, working with Anonymous, no matter what their personal feelings on were. Are you sharing the truth? Are you a free thinker? Right? Most people will go through that other door. I doubt any Anon would say, no, you need to put your head down and listen to the establishment.
Except a few people, maybe you got to follow the plan then.
Some Qs, QAnon. Yeah. I don't think they count as a non. I don't think they count as a nons.
QAnon's not an anon. Oh wow. I know, man.
Yeah, they say we are. They say they are anons, and we are all Antifa LARPers and whatever.
I thought I was a Russian. I thought I was a Russian spy or plant. What did they say? Bot. I thought I was a Russian bot.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you sound like a Russian bot.
Well, I mean, I didn't know. Can I be more than one thing, or is it just the?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a valid question. So I mean, and I think we've worked with I mean, us as hosts, right, have worked with all sorts of different groups. Occupy, and you know what I mean. You can name off, all sorts of different, the Standing Rock, the Water Protectors. You can name off all sorts of different, movements that we've been a part of, and with each one of them, you always think, wow, if just the 7 billion people in the world could quit. Would quit following what the 1% have in store for us, this would be over in that instant. And it's always something that you struggle with. Why can't we just work together for the things that we do give a shit about?
Remember that there's been so many.
I don't have the answer to that for sure.
Where we've attacked the central banks, I think that would be the core of most operations, but that's not where a lot of people want to start.
Yeah, but you think, okay, is it, Anonymous can go and, maybe attack the central bank for one reason or another for a very, very small amount. Or, right, the rest of the world that's in activism in one way or another could divest from these giant corporate monsters and put our money in places that help us. Do we do that? No.
I think as a show we are actually doing fine. I mean, we even had like flat earthers on. We had a QAnon on too. I mean, was a big QAnon guy, and he actually liked to be on our show. I think we're doing fine.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, there it is. Okay. So, even there, we don't agree with just about any. The QAnon is not anonymous, but just as a movement in general, if you ask them about, their love for the Democrats or whatever, they're going to tell you all sorts of shit that they have going on there. If you ask them if the corporate media is corrupt, right, we have no argument.
I've never seen the country more divided now when it is between the left and the right, and I mean, there's something changing, in the States, definitely between, the left and the right. I've never seen it more divided than it is now.
Well, I don't think, conservatism, the, neoconservative Christian conservatism that, took over our government, and the current Trump conservatives have a lot in common. So they use the word conservative, and you can throw some stuff in there, but, nothing about the neoconservative and Christian conservatives are conservative.
No, but right? They're down. They both, the moderates, you're really talking about moderates who don't do much of anything. You still have, you're using this label, but I'm telling you, these people are like the moderates of the party. It's the same people. They don't do anything. You can call them the Trump supporters or the party regulars, but it's the same folks, man. They're just the lemmings and sheep that are going to be there all the time, no matter who the candidate is. Probably they were there for Bush or Trump. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to them.
No. It's all about being a good party person. Whether you're, you see this with Democrats too. The moment you're not a party person, we are a piece of shit, So you have to be that party person, that moderate and the flag and banner waving for whoever the candidate is. And, it's all very boring and nauseating if you ask me, but whatever. But hey, that's most of these parties.
Yeah, that keeps us kind of staying at the status quo. I mean, I think a lot of people are looking and asking and they're not getting anything but the same old bullshit, and I think that is causing it's rifts in some cases, but some of it is even manufactured rifts. They'll post a story because it keeps us arguing and keeps us fighting, and you're not looking or researching any of the important things that are going on. A lot of this is misdirection.
Yeah, how long are they going to throw this Roe versus Wade in just so that we can keep both of our bases, riled up about this? It's like the same old thing you've been talking about ever since I was a kid.
Oh yeah, and they'll put you know, we have to argue about abortion and Roe versus Wade and whether women's clinics need to be shut down because they do abortions. Okay, if this is really like a big problem and your number one goal is to work on women's health, then have an abortion clinic and have a women's health clinic. Why do they have to be connected? You've got like a list of 1,000 things that everybody on both sides is happy with happening at women's health, right? You get your pap smears, your breast exams, this, that, you know, the whole line of pregnancy, you know, health, blah, 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 you know, give you condoms, birth control, all the shit that you need, right? And then this one issue of abortion that you can turn Americans into fucking seething monsters over, right? But you'll put that in there so that you don't get any of those other benefits. Oh, well, you're shutting down women's health clinics. Am I? Or did you put a bunch of things in here that keep us arguing on something that you knew we weren't going to agree on to begin with? Right? Throw the baby out with the bathwater, literally. Well, if you don't agree with abortion, then you do agree.
2 minutes, guys.
2 minutes?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I do. Like, I'm happy with the woman's right to choose. That's my stance on it. But I also don't see why all of these other programs have to be connected exclusively to this. Well, if you don't do abortions, you can't get a pap smear. Why?
Yeah.
Like, why there's a bunch of nurses, there's all these people here that do all sorts of other stuff, continue to do that.
Yeah, because one side or the other has to punish the other side, then nothing gets done. It's all just a bunch of shit for everybody. While this guy abuses you, the other side tells you can't do this.
Yeah, the guy that was beating my ass 10 minutes ago is now supposed to come to my rescue. I don't buy it. Golf clap.
Okay, we got to spay.
So we got one.
Remember to spay and neuter all politicians.
I'm gonna get that.
Here.
I'm gonna get that made into a meme.
And then
it really does. Yeah, I haven't seen a good one with that. That's a good one.
Yeah. Fuck Facebook. Fuck Mark Zuckerberg.
That's right.
Yeah.
Putting up with this crap
we'll be back
next
week, hopefully with our guest that was supposed to come on the week before, but that's still up in the air. Hopefully we'll have a guest by Tuesday next week at 7 o'clock Pacific time. We'll see you next week.
Dun 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 dun.
And
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.